Hello and welcome everyone back to Chaos Child session number 8, I believe, as we just learned about the existence of psychics and had a fire encounter with one because boy, that picked up. That got serious real quick. So yeah, that was pretty wild ending to the last session. And I'm very curious where it's all going to go. Right now, we're still headed towards Nono's in order to hear this big confession, secret, whatever she has for us. So hard to say for sure. But we have some subscriptions coming in. Holy cow. Thank you so much to GCM of Chaos, Tier 1 now for 24 months, saying, remember when I joked about how when you finish Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is when the DLC would drop? Looks like I wasn't wrong. Can't believe it's out this week and not in July, along with Pyro and Mytha, which I was lucky enough to pre-order 2 sets. Wow, 2 sets of those. Yeah, I'm so close. So close. I wrapped up all the side quests I had available to me, except for that stupid dang Napon register. That's the only one I need to find. Still not sure exactly where that's all going. But I continued enough of the story that I unlocked the thing that you can, the way that you can actually use those shards that you find around the world and whatnot. And I had enough on me that I was able to do 5 of the 6. So that's cool. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Still not done. Probably won't be done in time for the DLC. But hey, I'll be able to jump right into the DLC as soon as I finish. That's cool. Then Cat Evie with the Tier 1 for 28 months now, saying, Cool Cat Press Special. A scientist has discovered a new fusion method where he combined Lassie with a rose. He called it a cauliflower. Oh my gosh. Also, my birthday was yesterday. Well, happy birthday, Cat Evie. I hope it was a very good one. Thank you so much. Egg Roll with a Tier 3 subscription, 31 months now. Thank you so much. Saying 31 months and of subscribing. Just rolled credits on River City Girls 2 today and looking forward to playing the whole Kunio-kun Double Dragon series in between the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC, Mega Man Battle Network, Advance Wars Reboot, and Tears of the Kingdom. Where's my spare time again? That is a good question. I'm impressed you're even attempting to do all of that because it's a lot. Just holy cow. Simidon with a Tier 1 subscription, 24 months now. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VI due to the Pixel Remaster on Switch, and I am now remembering why I love this game so much. As another series of games I want to pick up at some point, just not at that chance yet, just because... yeah, there's a lot to play. I'm still playing Xenoblade. But yeah, there's 3 of those games I've never played before, so that'd be great to get to at some point. Jaskerica with a Tier 3 subscription as well. 14 months now. Thank you so much. Saying, finished Persona 5 Royal and absolutely loved it. For craps and giggles, I'm doing a new game plus to try and max out as many confidants as possible, and it's hilarious how fast it goes when skipping dialogue. I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I thought I found all those, Jacob, but apparently I'm still missing a few. So, I don't know. Or maybe I have no idea at this point. Egg Roll with 200 bits saying hype train. And yes, we are in a hype train right now. Apparently we're about to beat our last record, so that's insane. So thank you so much for all that support, really. And then let's see, we got let's see. Just a guy with 500 bits says, keep the hype trainer rolling. Yes, you are. That's for sure. Soulcaster joining with that says, might as well hop aboard. And Colux with a Tier 2 subscription, 14 months now subscribed, saying, dropped Xenoblade 3 a few months ago after getting to the beginning of Chapter 6 due to burnout. Now I'm hoping to hop back while not having trouble relearning everything. Good luck. I don't think it's too bad. I think you should adjust pretty well. I don't think you'll have to worry about that too much. And yeah, just go for it. Plus there's all those tutorials and you can just get into do the practice stuff if you want. The Forsaken One, oh my gosh, with a Tier 1 subscription, 31 months now, just saying, no, actually not saying anything. Thank you so much. Just appreciate it all the same. Really is. And then Novoxis with a tier 1 subscription, 26 months now, saying, we'll be looking for this stream since I have to catch up on the previous VOD. Also, 1 week closer to Tears of the Kingdom. Do not remind me. I am trying my best to get as much editing done as possible on my Zelda Part 1 retrospective. And there is, it's decent progress, but my gosh, it is. Let's just say this. If things get a little too close for comfort before not being able to finish it before the release of Tears of the Kingdom, I might have to cancel a few streams just to make sure I have that time at night to just keep working. So sorry if I have to do that, but it's just I want to be able to have it ready before Tears of the Kingdom's released. So hopefully, we'll see. We will see. One other thing I do want to mention is that Soy Sauce Asian mentioned that they actually caught up with One Piece. That's really funny to me. I'm glad you're all caught up, and I'm glad you're still really enjoying it. It may actually made me wonder. It's like I wonder how many people started like watching or reading One Piece thanks to the podcast, and then we're like, no, I don't want to wait for these guys. I'm just going to go. I just want to keep going as far as, and catch up to see what actually is all going on. I have a feeling probably more than a few. Smash Matt with 100 bits saying, more hype, not a problem. So, hey, weird that they announced that they're changing Foreman Spike's Japanese name on Twitter, huh? Not going to say it. Look it up if you're curious. Such an odd thing to announce. Really makes me think Nintendo is going to use him more in the future. It's possible they brought back Pauline, so maybe Foreman Spike will make an appearance in some way. I could see it. Oh my gosh, Eggroll with 200 bits saying, good luck with the retrospective. Hope the family stays healthy as well to not cause any more interruptions. Yeah, so far, family seems to be in pretty good shape. Unfortunately, Amy's back is a little, out of whack. But I think she's slowly healing. It's just, always have to keep up with family stuff. It's always all that stuff going on. Rob Harley was going to look today, but I have Honkai Star Rail and Xeno 3 DLC dropping tomorrow, the day after, time zones. Then there's Tears of the Kingdom 2 weeks later. Yeah, it's coming up quick. It is coming up quick. Colex Kai is doing very well. We're still putting the stuff on, but we have our checkup, our follow-up meeting, our appointment on Tuesday. We'll take a look at it. But personally, I mean, you can definitely still see it's injured and still needs to heal a bit, but it's not like the open wound type idea. It's just looking like a bit of an off-colored sunburn. 556, I coincidentally started watching One Piece when you started reading it for the podcast. That is really funny. A lot of you actually started reading around the time I started doing the podcast. Yeah, I just got inspired by the fact that we got to chapter 1000. I'm like, I need to get back onto this and see how this is all going. Of course, it requires a lot of catch up because there's a lot of chapters. But hey, 300 chapters down, nearly 800 to go. Anyway, as far as Chaos Child is concerned, we have made it back to the clinic where Nono is staying after dodging the crazy fire girl. We'll see how this. I have no idea what's next. I really don't. So we'll see. I know we are roughly a little over halfway done, so that's cool. I don't know how short the rest of the chapters are though. But Hype Train success. We got a Hype Train complete level 4, reached level 4, 51%. Wow, you guys did amazing. Jeez. 8 subs and 1,100 bits. Thank you so much. That's extremely generous of you. Really do appreciate it. So yeah, with all that said and done, let's get to it. I think we should be safe here. After the attack by the Pyrokinetic woman, I'd finally fled with Arimura to Alba Dorm. I could probably get treatment for my burns here. Oh, congratulations, Oscar, for beating Dragon Quest Treasures. That's awesome. It's closed, huh? The front door was locked. I've been so busy running that I'd forgotten how late it was. I hope the key's still where it was. I've been given a key to the dorm, but I didn't usually carry it on me. A lot of us had subscription renewals during the week. Yeah, I figured that was probably it, but hey, still appreciate it all the same. But when I lived here, there was a spare key hidden on the grounds. I decided to look for it. There it is. Fortunately, the key was right where I remembered it. Oh, all those generous bits and subs, and funny that we in the game we stopped at a screen with, "Is that it?" Jeez. Hold on, let me adjust my mic a bit. There we go. Part of me thought it wasn't a good idea to leave it in the same place all the time, but today I was grateful. You can sit there. As I went into the exam room, Arimura still stood hesitantly by the entrance. I motioned for her to sit in the exam chair. Your wounds. Don't worry, I can take care of this myself. I see. Good, I'd gotten a little used to it, but I still didn't like the idea of touching her skin. Oh, you can use this as a disinfectant. I got some medicine, some cotton wool, and some adhesive bandages off the shelf and handed them to her. Since this was a clinic, a lot of the medicines were for use by professionals, jeez. But they were labeled in clearly written Japanese, so there was no way I could screw them up. Every time a new drug came in, it was Kurisu's job to make the label and stick it on. She always said that if she didn't, Yui, Yuto, and I might take some by accident. She'd always been the type to worry about things like that. I'd always been told to make sure to straighten my shoes up when I took them off, or not to put my socks in the laundry inside out. She'd made me help with a lot of cooking too, didn't she? Wait, why am I thinking about that now? I shook my head, shocked that I was thinking about those things when something much more important was going on. Is this where you live with Kurisu and the others? The disinfectant must have stung because she was wincing. I used to, until a little while ago. Then where do you live now? Now, I live by myself in another place. You live by yourself, huh? I'm jealous. Yeah, I guess. What about you? I hadn't really meant anything by it. That was just where the conversation was leading. Do you want to know? Oh, no, if you don't want to tell me, it's fine. I don't mind. I live with some relatives. My family lives kind of far away. I see. If she was jealous of me living alone, did that mean that she wasn't getting along with her relatives? Oh, just so you know, I'm not being abused by my relatives or anything like that, okay? Huh? No, I just didn't want you to get the wrong idea. I didn't. So you did, huh? Can't lie to her. That's right, she had that power. Having her know if I was telling the truth or not made things difficult. But it was probably difficult for Arimura herself to know what someone was really thinking, whether she wanted to or not. That sort of explained how she acted at school. Unless she kept things on a superficial level, acting like a goofball and telling jokes, she'd know what everyone really felt, and it would crush her. Okay, all done. Your turn. Oh, okay. Since Arimura seemed to have finished, I sat down in a chair to take care of my own injuries. And at the same time, the door in the back softly opened. Who's there? Takaru? Oh. Oh no. I'd hoped that Kurisu would be asleep. No, I'd actually come here to talk to her about something important. But after the Pyrokinetic's attack, I decided against it. If she saw me injured like this, she would have worried, so I'd planned to talk to her tomorrow instead. I heard a noise, so I came down to check. What are you doing here at this hour? 556, thank you very much for the 444 bits saying, am I death yet? And yes, you are indeed death. Congratulations. We narrowly avoided you last time while we were dealing with the Pyrokinetic. Oh, goodness. I heard a noise, so I came down to check. What are you doing here at this hour? And then she realized that there was another girl in the room. Huh? Arimura? Hi. This isn't what it looks like. I wasn't out on some kind of weird late night date with her and then we got into a big fight where both of us got hurt. But before I could say something which would probably only make her more suspicious, Kurisu saw us both and went pale. You're both hurt! This is... I knew this was coming. Her own injury hadn't healed yet, so when I saw how worried she looked, it pricked at my heart. Fortunately, no drop frames on my end, egg roll, but, yeah. Give those to me. Huh? You need someone to treat those injuries, right? Give me the medicine. Oh. Kurisu grabbed the medicines I was carrying and started to patch me up. No, we're fine. I already did it myself. You have to do it correctly. What if it leaves a scar behind? But... no buts. Understood? Okay. Kurisu's no-nonsense attitude was enough to overwhelm even Arimura. She sat still and let Kurisu do whatever she wanted. Once she was finished, she started on me. So, what happened? Oh, what was I supposed to tell her? I should probably try to find a way to say it that it won't scare her, but... We were attacked. That's way too blunt, Arimura. Arimura came straight out and told her while I was hesitating. Attacked? That's right, by a psychic with the power to control fire. Kurisu's expression started to cloud over. Come on, Arimura, shut up! I glared at her, but Arimura just shook her head. At times like this, if you try to hide things, it just makes it sound like you're lying. You only make them worry more. And anyway, even without my power, it's easy to tell when you're lying, Miyashiro. Arimura is right. Tell me the truth, okay? I guess I didn't have a choice. I told Kurisu what had just happened, carefully choosing my words so as not to scare her. While I spoke, I had flashbacks to the terror I'd felt during the attack, and my voice started to shake, but I couldn't help that. So we don't know why either, but she was definitely after us. Everything I said sounded unrealistic, even to me, but Kurisu intently listened to every word. She just sat there and listened. Miyashiro? Arimura suddenly looked at me and spoke. Can you see that? Huh? Only then did I realize. I'd been so busy talking that I hadn't noticed, but something had appeared in the corner of my vision. That's... When I remembered the terror I'd felt during the attack, had I brought this back as well? There was no mistaking it. A D-sword. I whispered the words myself and tried to visualize it more clearly. And then... the hazy, indistinct image began to take shape. I reached out my hand towards the bizarre object. But... what's going on? For some reason, I couldn't touch it. Takaru? What are you doing? There's a sword here. A sword? I figure you've learned how to manifest your own D-sword now. My own? That's right. That's your D-sword. My D-sword. An illusory sword that could only be seen with the power to make delusions real. Then I'm a psychic after all. That's what I've been telling you this whole time. Then that woman was after me? I think so. Of course, it's possible that she was after me too. What I'd been afraid of had become real. That is a worse burn scar than Zuko. That woman, her eyes, her appearance, and her flames. The burn marks on our bodies told me that this wasn't a dream, it was real. At this rate, I would be killed, like the victims in Don't Look at Me and Revolving Dead. Why? Why was this happening to me? Arimura? Kurisu suddenly interrupted our conversation. What is it? Can you tell me everything you know? Huh? Why? I'm going to find out who's behind these murders and why they're doing this. What? Stunned, I leaned in towards Kurisu. You told me so many times not to get involved. But it's too late for that now, right? There's a chance they might come after you too. There's a chance they might come after the two of you, isn't there? Oh. It's like mom, I think it's like everybody was saying mom mode activated. I think that's true mom mode. It's like, well, I'm in the case now. I don't know, Soulcaster. There's still some horrific imagery, but I'm not sure if it's as pronounced as at the beginning. We still have, I think, 3 more deaths to go. I'm not sure. I'd noticed earlier that something seemed a little strange about Kurisu. She told me so many times not to get involved in anything dangerous that I was sure when I told her what had happened tonight, she'd freak out. That's why even when I'd fled here, I still hadn't wanted to see her. But after I'd told her, instead of looking angry or raising her voice, her expression was firm and resolved. Listen, Takaru. Serika may have told you, but there's something I want to talk to you about. Oh, yeah. There's actually something I haven't told you. Something you haven't told me? I felt a sudden pain in my heart. Her words reminded me of the last time when I was told that my parents were murdered. When I found out that the family rule at the Alba dorm that nobody kept secrets didn't apply to me, just everyone else. When I found out that I was the one person who was different from the rest of my family. And I knew Kurisu remembered it too. She had almost brought herself to the verge of saying something, but her memories came back and stopped her. She kept opening and closing her mouth, only to finally fall silent. I almost never saw her like this. Kurisu, don't worry about me. Huh? I balled my hands tightly into fists, as if I was trying to tell this to myself too. I'm not who I was anymore. Probably. So tell me. Takaru, was I just imagining things, or did Kurisu's eyes get a little wet? I couldn't bear to look at her, so I continued. Anyway, I need to hear what it is that you haven't told me, otherwise I won't know what's going on. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we did just drop a few frames. We're dropping frames again. Back to it. And then she slowly started this... Oh, Caddy V, you cheered earlier? I'm so sorry about that, Caddy V. 100 bits from Caddy V saying, random useless fact, today is Makoto from Persona 5's birthday. Well, that's cool. I like Makoto. That's good to hear. Alright. And then she slowly started to speak. This is what she said. I'm involved with this case too. I never even expected that. Kurisu was involved in the case? What did she mean? That hospital you snuck into earlier. AH Tokyo General Hospital? Yes, that basement. I knew about it. Huh? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was so sudden and surprising that I couldn't even follow it. The basement under Tokyo General Hospital. She knew about that terrifying place? Why? How? A long time ago, Senri... Senri Minamisawa.
南沢千里
I had to stop myself from reaching out and grabbing her by the shoulders.
どうして
How do you know about her?
それは
That's because, well... Kurisu paused and looked away, and then she showed me the phone in her hands. Because of this. There was a picture on the phone. A happily smiling boy and two girls. The picture was old, but I recognized one of the girls as Kurisu and the boy as Kawahara. And there was a girl with them who had very gloomy eyes. It was without a doubt the girl whose data I'd seen in the facility, the one called Senri Minamisawa.
そうか思い出した
That's right, I remember. I knew I'd heard the name Minamisawa before. It was during the culture festival. Kawahara had said,
特に
especially me and one other person. Her name was Minamisawa. She died in the earthquake, but before that, the three of us were always together.
いつもクレスと一緒にいた
川原君が
Kawahara said you had a friend named Minamisawa.
そう
That's right. When this photo was taken, the three of us would always play
いつも
together.
一緒に遊んでいたのよ
Senri Minamisawa, who'd been subjected to those awful human experiments. Used to be Kurisu's friend?
センリはね
Senri used to go to that hospital every day.
じゃあ
Then you... The back of my throat had gone dry and hurt terribly.
クルスはあそこで何が行われ
Then
て
you
い
knew
た
what was going on there? Kurisu bit her lip and slowly nodded.
当時子供だったわ
I was just a kid and there was nothing I could do.
しようもなか
It was so frustrating and it made me sad.
それが悔しくて悲しくて
Kurisu looked down. Her face was twisted with pain, as if she was being tortured. She was a girl with a strong sense of right and wrong. Knowing that her friend was being experimented on must have been terrible for her. Did Kurisu maybe go through the same trauma that I did?
でも
But I'm not a kid anymore. I can't run away. I have to know the truth about what's going on.
そうじゃないと
Otherwise, I can't protect anyone.
クルス
有村さん
Arimura, please, tell me everything.
全部
Was that really the right thing to do? I'd put Kurisu in danger before, and now I was sending her down a dangerous path again.
仕方ないですね
I guess we don't have a choice.
ちょ待って
Wait,
くれ
Arimura? I tried to stop Arimura, but Kurisu cut me
ね
off.
えタクル
Listen, Takaru, I don't know who hurt you two today, but they might come back, right?
何も知らないまま
If I don't know what's going on, I can't do anything for you. All I can do is be afraid and helpless. I don't want that.
何もできないだから
So tell me
全
everything.
部聞く羨ましいですね
I'm so jealous. No, it's nothing. So, is it okay to tell her? Yeah. I slowly nodded.
でも有村
But Arimura, before we get Kurisu involved, can I ask you one thing?
一つだけ
私に
Ask me?
僕は
I don't really know much about you. Honestly, I don't know if it's okay to trust you.
正直
なるほど
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
でもなんていうか
But it doesn't seem like you're a bad person, I think. So, I want to ask you.
だから
Ask me
何を
what?
です
お前は少なくとも
You're not, at least, you're not our enemy, right?
お前のせいで
No one I care about is
僕の
going to
大
die
事な
because
誰
of
かが
you,
死んだり
right?
しないよな
Arimura thought for a moment as she looked at me and Kurisu in turn. And then,
まあ
well, you just saved my life back there, and I don't think it would be right to hurt you after that, so I swear it. You both can treat me as an ally.
そっか
I see.
おっと
Oh, but I hate it when people get clingy and super friendly, so keep that in mind.
その辺はよろしく
Then she smiled just a little. That may have been the first time I'd seen a real smile from her. Alright, off to Monday. Back to Shinjo. That is a good point, Soulcaster. But she paused and thought about it, so I guess it makes it seem legit. I don't know. AH Tokyo General Hospital. After Kurisu's report, he decided to visit it himself. It was almost midnight. Visiting hours were long over, and he didn't have an official warrant. He was here entirely of his own volition. But as he saw it, he was never getting a warrant the usual way, so this was his only shot. Normally he'd want to slowly, painstakingly build up a case, but it seemed to him that searching this hospital was so important that there just wasn't time to spare. First, I need to see what Mio Kunosato said was true. If I can do that, I should be able to get as many warrants as I want. After his own investigations, he found that something strange had started happening here in 2007, 2 years before the earthquake. At the time, there was a treatment facility in Shibuya called the Arc Heart Medical Association that was involved with some kind of cult. On the surface, it was a mental health clinic staffed with talented doctors from university hospitals. There was no way to know what they'd actually been doing, but evidently some people had suspected that they were brainwashing troubled patients. But suddenly, the facility was reborn as a hospital with a non-profit assisted living facility. And all the doctors that Arc Heart Medical had fired were rehired at AH Tokyo General Hospital. And then, 6 years ago, there was the New Generation Madness. The fifth victim in that case, Fumio Takashina, the victim of the so-called brain-dead case, who'd been kept alive for a week after his brain was removed. How the heck did that happen? He'd worked at AH Tokyo General Hospital. What's with all these creepy coincidences? There was too much that seemed suspicious. What would they have done at a time like this? And then he shook his head. Do it your own way. That's what they would have said. Either way, if he could get proof of what was in this facility's basement, the case would take a whole different turn. Even if there was something big lurking in the shadows behind this case, if he presented incontrovertible proof, the police would have no choice but to act. It wasn't just about the facility after all. There were a lot of people involved too. The lives and dignity of the victims who'd been turned into test subjects also mattered. Experimenting on humans, huh? Disgusting. Every year, almost 100,000 people went missing. If some of them had been forced into these experiments, that was a big problem. Okay, let's get this over with. His voice was somehow relaxed yet driven as he headed into the hospital. He learned and memorized the location of the facility from Kunosato. You don't need all of your brain anyway. Safe to remove some. Jeez. He snuck in from the ER loading zone and headed to the basement. The temperature there was clearly different from the areas above. And then he went into the autopsy room. Why do I have a feeling he's just going to die? If I remember right, this is where the entrance is. He opened the breaker box and saw the card reader inside. So this is it. He held out the card key that Kunosato had given him. And he heard the sound of an opening door. I see, so something big's happening here. There was a hidden staircase in the back of the autopsy room. A part of him hadn't believed it until he'd seen it for himself, but now he was essentially sure. A normal hospital wouldn't need something like this. No kidding. Shinjo stopped for a moment to take a breath, then headed down the stairs. If this dude does not die, I will be shocked. There was an old hallway at the bottom. It smelled of mold and dust. When he turned on his penlight, he saw that it was an old facility and the walls were falling apart. But this place is still being used. If no one visits a building, it rots away. Unless someone uses it every day, it won't last long. But this place was different. It was old, but he was nearly certain someone was using it. I think she said it's up this way. Shinjo followed the directions that Kunosato had given him as he headed toward his goal. His first stop was the monitoring room, which would have critical information on the facility. He wanted the data on the computer there. And then he wanted to find the room where the victims of the experiments were being kept. He turned down many corridors as he headed for his destination. The cell-like rooms he saw on the way concerned him. But they could wait for later. Right now, his biggest job was to get the evidence he needed. This must be the place. I seriously thought that was a... I seriously thought that was a stab sound. Don't worry, he won't die until he sees something really important that we won't get shown. Yes, that's exactly how that works. Shinjo finally found the spot he was looking for. He used his card key to unlock the door. Then he swallowed and put his hand on the doorknob. When he got inside, he saw... What? Damn it. He quickly ran to the other room, the prison where Uki Yamazoe had kept the test subjects. You're kidding me. This can't be. This can't be. He quickly found the room and flung open the door. And then he stood still in astonishment. It's gone. There was... nothing there. No victims, no beds. None of the things that Kunosato had told him about. The monitoring room had been empty too. There were no security cameras, no computers, nothing at all. All that remained was the simple fact that there was nothing left at all. Well, that makes sense, Jacob, as you say. Hey, Miyashiro, you're going to the club today, right? Of course, I want to go over a lot of things with the case. Okay, let's go. Oh, sorry, go on ahead without me. What, you've got something to do? Well, I'm on cleaning duty today. I pointed to the other students who were moving the desks and sweeping the floors. Yeah, but you know, why do they make the students do the cleaning? You've got that right. It's only a few countries, including Japan, that make their students do the cleaning. Oh, stop. I don't need to hear it. Okay, see you later. Sheesh. Time to get this finished and head to the club room. I saw a scrap of paper lying on the floor next to the garbage bin. Someone had probably tried to throw it in the wastebasket and missed, then left it there. I really wish they'd think about the people that had to do the cleaning before they did that. I took a quick look around. There was another student named Tanaka right nearby who was mopping up the floor. Fortunately, there was no one else around. Okay, let's try this. I visualized the scrap of paper lifting off the ground. This was more difficult than you'd think. If you lost your concentration for even a moment, it wouldn't work. Well, can I do it? I took the scene I had imagined and tried to strike Tanaka with it. And then... Yes! The scrap of paper floated upward just like I'd imagined. And then it floated into the garbage can. Ooh, he's learning control! Good for him. Sumo Moeni saying, not sure if anyone brought this up before, but Chaos Head was done in collaboration with a visual novel studio that specializes in doing cosmic horror stories. Yeah, I don't know if I remember that, but geesh. I did a little victory pose. Huh? Tanaka was looking around in surprise. He looked at me, a little afraid. Hey, Miyashiro? Yes? What is it? Did I just see a piece of paper move into the garbage can on its own? Huh? Like, you know, it went in without anybody touching it. Huh? No way, you must have been mistaken. Oh, yeah. You're right. Still, he stared at the garbage can, unsatisfied. I'd like to go throughout the garbage. Is that okay? Huh? Yeah, sorry. I took the garbage can out into the hallway. More. I want to use this power more. Oh boy, he's becoming addicted. Chapter 7. Their Resistance 2. Yeah, we only got 5 chapters left. Everybody here? It had already been 3 days since Arimura and I had been attacked by the Pyrokinetic. We'd been worried that she might attack us again, but until now, nothing had happened. Thanks to that, we'd finally calmed down, and today I was feeling good enough to revisit what we knew about the case. First, before we get started, let me introduce you. Hey there, I'm Hine Arimura, and I'm always smiling. It's so nice to meet you all. Oh, you know, I saw somebody talking about maybe us, maybe the whole thing with downloading Xenoblade for the DLC might have been what was causing the issues for our drop frames. That might have been it. In the meantime, Nelson, thank you so much for that Prime subscription. Really do appreciate it. We got our culprit. Xenoblade was jealous that it was being played. Oh my god. I'm not even sure if Amy's here. I'm gonna go tell. I'm gonna text her real quick. Oh, okay. I just texted Amy. So we just finished downloading the update for the Xenoblade DLC. It has it downloaded so you can have it pre-ready to go for that. So I had a downloading progress doing this, which explains the earlier issues, I think. But yay! Success! Nice to meet you too. Clap, clap, clap. It was still hard to keep up with the way her mood seemed to change all the time. Sarika was applauding, but no one else was. Kazuki was playing ESO2 or some other game like she always was. She turned around to take one look at Arimura, then went back to her computer screen. Arimura isn't actually joining the newspaper club, she's just helping us. I'm in the Lit Club actually, but there's no need to sweat the details. I'll be coming by as much as I can. For what it's worth, I'd already told all the newspaper club members about Arimura's power. Hey, Hina, can I ask you something? Sure. Oh, but my measurements are a maiden secret. I don't really know if I care about Arimura's measurements. The hell did you just say, asshole? And then her mood changed again. Which is the real you, Hina? Sometimes you're cheerful and sometimes you're serious and sometimes you're scared. Well, which do you think it is? Yeah, I am too. You should get yours downloaded as well, Amy. Come on, you don't have to think about it that hard. But what I can tell you is that knowing when somebody's telling the truth is a lot harder than you think, Sari. If you don't mess around a little, you can't survive. Sarika seemed lost in thought as if she really didn't understand. Oh, right, you. Kazuki jumped a little. Hey, you. You're a first year, right? I am Groot? Oh, sorry. Can you say that out loud for me? Oh, Hina, don't say that. Hana doesn't talk. Huh? She doesn't? Do you mean she can't talk? No, I don't think that's the case. She just really doesn't want to. Even we've never actually seen her talk. Huh, I see. Arimura stared at Kazuki's face. Okay. So I could call you Hana? Most of that was mostly English. Okay, Hana, nice to meet you. I thought Arimura might have found it difficult to get along with Kazuki, but maybe I was wrong. Since Kazuki didn't talk, it might actually make it easier for her since she didn't have to worry about knowing if she was lying. Okay, let's get started. Wait, before that, there's something I have to tell you. Kurisu is...
遅れちゃってごめんなさい。
Sorry I'm late. Kurisu opened the door and came inside. Her injury had healed, and Dad had told her that it was okay for her to move around, so she'd come back to school today.
副部長
Vice President.
もう話始まって
Have you started already? No, we definitely haven't been talking about the case.
いいんだ伊藤
It's okay, Ito. Huh?
クルスも一緒に
Kurisu is going to help us
事件の
solve the
解明を
case.
してくれることになった
Huh? She is?
ええ
Yes, I guess you could say it's my job to keep an eye on you. Kurisu glanced at me for just a moment, worried. But it was only for a moment, and then she was back to normal.
とにかく
Anyway, let me hear your opinions on the case thus far. If there's anything that's even a little off, I'll gladly point it out. The meek attitude she'd had when she'd been hurt was gone, and she was back to her usual self. Ito's shoulders slumped, but at the same time, he looked a little happy. She was always obnoxious and at times a little annoying, but this was the way everyone wanted Kurisu to be.
じゃあ全員
Okay, now that everyone's here, I'd like to start the meeting. But first, there's something I want to show you all. What's that?
まだ尾上と
I've only shown this to Onoe and Kurisu so far. It doesn't work 100% of the time, so it might fail, but... Ito, Kazuki, and Arimura looked at me in confusion. I nodded and grabbed a pen, then put it on the table. I tried my best to focus. And then, just like the scrap of paper earlier, I imagined the pen moving. Here's the hard part. Can I do it? As I focused as hard as I could, I saw it slowly appear in the corner of my eye. Okay, there it is. Now all that was left was to imagine my delusion infecting everyone else. Gotta love that word infection in terms of this. The next moment, the pen started to jerk upwards. Huh? Whoa! The three of them raised their voices in surprise as the pen slowly moved upwards. Whew. When I stopped imagining the floating pen, the D-sword disappeared from my field of vision, and the pen slammed back down on the table. Wonder why it downloaded for some of us, but not others. That's very strange. Wow, Miyashiro, that's incredible! Just like I said, it's not perfect yet, but...
いつの間にできるよう
When
にな
did
った
you
ん
learn to
です
do that?
尾上に協力して
Onoe helped me try a bunch of different things. Ito gasped in amazement. When the Pyrokinetic attacked me, I was forced to accept that I really was a psychic. After that, I decided to master my power instead of running away from it, and I'd gone through a lot of trial and error to do so. At first, I tried to do it on my own, but that didn't go well. And then I remembered what Kunosato had said. She said that a gigalomaniac accomplished a real boot by transmitting his delusions into the dead spots of another person's brain to create what she'd called a shared reality. That meant if I didn't have someone to share my delusion with, it wouldn't work, right? So when I started practicing with Serika, things began to go much better. And that's why it always worked when Serika was around. Wow, there we go. That makes sense. Okay, I like that little bit of cohesion. But Miyashiro, you know that if you start using that power for fun, nothing good's going to come out of it, right? Arimura is right. I know that. I'm just doing this to protect everyone.
僕や
I hope so.
いいんですけど
I was telling the truth. I'd managed to turn back the Pyrokinetic's flames at the last second. That was the only reason we survived. But that was only a coincidence born out of desperation. If she was going to come after me again, I needed to master my power. That's why I decided to practice like this.
だけどさ
But you know,
なんで
it's
だろう
weird.
ね
Suddenly, Serika frowned. She was fiddling with her Garo froggy strap like she always did when she was thinking about something.
なんでだろうって
What's weird?
相変わらず
You know, Serika, you may be able to make sense of what you're saying inside your own head, but the rest of us can't.
わかってるのかもしれないけど
Oh, sorry. Well, Hina can tell if someone's telling the truth, right? And Taku can move
相手の
objects.
話人によって
I was just wondering why everybody has different powers. Oh. I'd never thought about that before. She had a point. Why did different people have different powers? Kunosato hadn't said anything about that. And another thing, when did you get this power? Were you born with it? That was another thing I'd been wondering about. Miyashiro, what about you? I didn't know that I had this power until a very short time ago. Excuse me. So honestly, I don't know. Then what about you, Arimura? I think mine came to me just after the Shibuya earthquake. After that, I just suddenly could tell when people were lying. So in Arimura's case, she suddenly became so in Arimura's case, she suddenly became able to tell if people were lying after the Shibuya earthquake. Does that mean the earthquake is involved somehow? Probably. I'm guessing that's a psychic earthquake or something. I'd have to look into that eventually. Also, as to Seri's question, why different people have different powers, I have an idea about that. What is it? I think it's because of their wish. Their wish? Yep, something happened to me during the earthquake, and the next thing I knew, I was like this. Something happened? Oh, come on, you know, I wanted to know the truth. Don't make me spell it out, it's embarrassing. No, it's not really embarrassing. And what do you mean you wanted to know the truth? What happened? Jeez, you're such a nosy pervert. Why? Call it a maiden secret, so no more questions. None. When Arimura was like this, I knew I wasn't going to get anything out of her. Anyway, let's go over what happened so far. All the victims in the Return of the New Generation Madness cases have one thing in common. We know what that is, right? Yep, just like I guessed before, they were all psychics. The first victim in the Don't Look at Me case was it famous for being able to predict the future. Yes, he could probably see the future. Next, the leaky noise victim. She put those who heard her music into a trance. Trance? You mean like anybody listening to her felt really good? Yeah, probably something like that. In other words, she was able to control how people felt with her music. Next, the victim in the revolving dead case. He was said to be able to read clients' minds. I think this Kakita guy was a telepath. Yes, that's right. That's what he said to me. And as for the victim in the Gatsuan death case, that's right. All of Watabe's famous scoops were taken from angles and places that should be impossible. He was probably using psychic photography. Kind of running out of room with this stuff. So it's just like I said. Don't you get the sense that all these powers have a wish involved? A wish, huh? Utani, the victim in the Don't Look at Me case, was a Nico Neo streamer that was able to become famous. Boo Scary Helicopter, what did I think of the indie world? I thought it was pretty interesting. Nothing like super stand out, but enough interesting stuff. From what Shinjo said about Takiyanagi, the girl in the leaky noise case, she became a popular vocalist. Kakita from the Revolving Dead case, him, I don't know. Arimura, do you know anything? He didn't talk about that much. I guess there was a lot of backstabbing at his job. But once he got his power, he didn't have to worry about that anymore. Thinking emote idea. Takaru thinking of his flowchart board. Yeah. Again, until we need a lot more subs before we're going to be able to get another emote. And as for Watabe from the Gatsuan death case, all right. I see. Looking at it, you may be right. In other words, their wishes had an effect on their powers. Does that mean your power comes from a wish too, Miyashiro? Have you ever wanted to be able to move things without touching them? No, I couldn't think of any reason why I'd want that power. Oh, I think I know. Taku, remember after the earthquake when you were in a coma for so long? Oh. Come to think of it, you had a really hard time even walking back then. Just like Kurisu said, I'd been badly injured during the earthquake. Even after I'd finally woken up from my coma, just walking was incredibly painful. It was bad enough that it would take tens of minutes just to grab something a few feet away. I'd hated that, and I wished 1,000 times that the thing I was trying to get would just come to me. Then that's where my power came from? Makes sense. We can assume your theory that these powers come from wishes is right then. Then that woman, the one who attacked us, her power comes from some wish too. Did she want to burn something? What could she want to burn so badly? Maybe she wanted to roast yams? Is this really a time to be telling jokes? No, Sari seriously believes that. Oh boy, that'll be convenient to know when Sari actually believes something or not. Seriously? Huh? Did I say something strange? Yeah, you did, Sarika. Buttered yams does sound pretty yummy. Well, whatever. We can worry about why she became a pyrokinetic another time. There's one other problem we have to think about with her. Something important. I looked at the faces of everyone in the room. Whether she's behind all the murders so far. She had clearly been trying to kill us, but that didn't mean she was behind all the murders. I looked back at the board. Kazuki, get the thing I asked for. I am Groot. I took the image that I asked Kazuki to print out for me. Nobody's been talking about it because of the return of the New Generation Madness, but there's been a string of recent arson cases in Shibuya. Everyone seemed to know this. They nodded. I'm going to compare the arson sites with the locations of the murders so far. First, here's where the Don't Look at Me case took place. And here's where the arson was. Wow. Right? Next, the leaky noise case. It was here. Now we overlay the location of the arson fire. Wait, are you serious? And then the Love Hotel where Revolving Dead happened. There are also suspicious fires set around the Love Hotel. It's interesting that Tanae is actually working with us mostly willingly compared to how she works with Mio. That's right. Now, as you all know, the Gatsuan death case took place at our school. And then when you overlay the locations of the fires... That's kind of amazing. Right? You get a better feel for it by looking at the whole map. Wow. I was surprised too when I first noticed it. And in light of all this, we can assume that there's some connection between the murders and the arson cases, huh? Yeah, it's too much of a match to be a coincidence. That woman has some connection to the murders. When I finished, Sarika said, "Wow, you're amazing, Taku." But everyone else seemed lost in thought. Good night, Gregster. Take care. Any objections? I wouldn't call it an objection, but can I say something? Kurisu raised her head. Yeah, go ahead. Well, she stood up in such a way as not to put pressure on her injury, and then moved in front of the board. want to check something. The woman who attacked you, her power was pyrokinetic. Yes, her powers let her control fire, right? Yeah. But none of the murders so far have involved fire, have they? What was the first one? Don't look at me? And next was Leaky Noise. And then Revolving Dead. And the one that happened at school was Guts One Death. It's so disgusting the names that to give names like that to murders. We really go over the names of these things over and over and over again, don't we? Look, none of them involve fire. Huh, you're right. Kurisu had caught one of the weak points in my argument. I thought that was strange too. None of the murders had involved fire, which meant that we had very little evidence to suggest that she was the killer. Hey, how about this? Maybe the fire woman was testing her powers or something. Testing? Yeah, she really didn't know what her power was at first, so she started testing different things. That's why each murder is different. I doubt that. Oh, I see. Shin, you're smart. I highly doubt that. Sariko was impressed, but isn't that kind of hard to believe? Arimura said it before I could. Is it? It just seems like too much of a stretch, I think. I think so too. I see. Everyone fell silent. We'd only just started, but there was too much we didn't know. If she is the killer, then why didn't she use her fire? And why did she kill them like that? No, wait. I suddenly got an idea. Hey, Arimura, I've got a question. What is it? You were hanging out with Kunosato a lot, right? Not because I wanted to. Arimura's disgust was plain. She must have really hated Kunosato. She's doing research into psychic powers, right? Did she say anything about the number of powers a Gigolomaniac can have? The number? Yeah, I've never really thought about it, but is there a rule that a psychic can only have one power? I don't know. I can tell you that Kunosato never talked about it, though. The way real booting works is that, in theory, as long as you can control the delusion properly, you could use any power you wanted. In other words, it's possible for a person to have multiple powers. Ito put his hands on his chin and thought. So the woman who attacked you two wasn't just a pyrokinetic. It's just a possibility, but what do you think? That's hardly conclusive. Later, Oscar. Take care. Then maybe she has a helper who has a different power? A helper? Oh, I get it. So there's more than one person involved. Or this takes us back to the start, but maybe the pyrokinetic isn't involved in the murders, and the real killer is someone else entirely. In that case, the attack on you was completely unrelated to the murders, right? Yeah. There were too many possibilities to really know what was going on. Hey, why don't we put this aside for now? We're probably not getting anywhere. You're right, let's leave it for now. You told the police about the woman who attacked you, right? Yes. Did they tell you anything? The night we were attacked, we contacted Shinjo and told him what had happened, along with the description of our attacker. Arimura had said that she'd help draw composite sketches too. Blah, can't talk. The police had decided to look for her as a suspect in the arson case. If they could find her, they'd arrest her for that. Sorry, I need to rehydrate. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Once they had her in custody, then they could find out if she was responsible for the murders. He said he'd call us if he found something, but I haven't heard anything. I don't think they found who she is. I see, then there's nothing else we can say about her. I think so. My throat was dry from all the talking, so I looked inside my bag. Boy, I feel that. Of course I'd brought a Mountain View. Drink water. I opened it and took a gulp. Everyone else grabbed a drink of their own and took a moment to relax. Ah, there's a few other things I've been wondering about. Can we talk about them too? Sure, let's do it. First, all the victims were psychics, right? How did the killer find that out? Ito's question was a good one, and one I'd known was coming. I've got an idea about that. I think the killer's using the sumo stickers to track down their victims. The sumo stickers? More precisely, the 11th Rorschach test. Remember what we saw in the basement of AH Tokyo General? Any psychic who sees that sticker has a very strong reaction. Arimura and I have both experienced that for ourselves. Ugh, just remembering it makes me feel a little sick. Arimura closed her eyes and put her hand over her mouth. She must have felt like she was going to throw up. Are you okay, Arimura? Yeah, sorry. Keep going, Miyashiro. Okay, Ito and Serika saw this in the basement at the hospital, but they had cameras all over town, watching the stickers. They were finding people who had the potential to be psychics to, experiment on them, underground. I could see Kurisu's expression cloud. She'd probably remembered her friend Minamisawa Senri, who'd been a test subject down there. It hurt to see her like that, but I decided that I had no choice but to go on anyway. Mountain View and nacho cheese Floritos. I love it. So I think the killer might have come from there. If she knew the secret of the stickers, it would be easy to find psychics, right? She just had to look for people who had a bad reaction when they saw it. For one thing, that woman attacked us when she saw us panicking over the stickers. Then the killer is using the cameras down there. No way, you need a card key to get in. And that place is basically abandoned, right? Nobody was watching the stickers and nobody was doing any experiments. No, even without that facility, they could watch the stickers. Huh? Kurisu nodded as if she understood. I know what Takaru means. They didn't have to watch via the cameras. They could just stand near the stickers and go after anyone who reacted like Takaru and Arimura did. That's right. I think the Pyrokinetic was waiting near the stickers too, like a spider waiting for something to wander into its web, and then Arimura and I happened by. That would take a long time though. It's not impossible. But wait, we won't get any further debating that. Let's go on to the next point. We keep leaving questions unanswered. Is that okay? We don't have a choice. Our goal right now needs to be to get as many questions out there as we can. Ito, is there anything else that's bothering you? Yeah, 2 more things. Ito asked his 2 remaining questions. Summed up, this is what they were. Why are the murders taking place on the same day as the New Generation incidents? And why are they happening at all? It's like the whole point of this is to attract a lot of attention. Yeah. Everything from the dates to the way the murders were committed was chosen to be as sensational as possible. Was it just to attract attention, or was it a message meant for a specific person? Is that the motive? I know, like a serial killer, right? They sometimes call those types organized killers. If the murders continue to follow the dates of the New Generation madness, the next one will be the same day as Braindead, October 23rd. Which also meant nothing was going to happen until then. I see, so that's why. Ito suddenly snapped his fingers as if he'd reached some great conclusion. The 2 of you were attacked by the Pyrokinetic, but in the end, she didn't kill you. Yeah? Maybe that's because it wasn't the right day yet. The right day? Did that mean it wasn't my power that saved us? No, but it really felt like she was going to kill us. The more I thought about it, the more confused I felt. Alright, I'm going to head to the student council, but promise me you won't do anything dangerous when I'm not around, okay? You don't need to keep saying that, I know. Really? Yeah. It had been a while since Kurisu had glared at me like that. Now that the Empress was back, she was scary.
あ、そうそう。
Oh, right,
それ
and
から
Takaru.
あなた、
Kurisu got in close and whispered to me,
今夜から
Come back to
青
Alba
森に
Dorm
帰ってきな
tonight.
さい。
Huh?
狙われているのかもしれない
Someone
ん
might
です
be
よ。
after you, right? It's dangerous to be
今の場
alone.
所に一人でずっととは言わない
It doesn't have to be forever. It can just be for a little while. Live at home until this is resolved.
いやでもさ
No, but
ダメ。
no complaints. If you don't come back, I'll come and get you. Bye.
こっちから連れに行くからね。それじゃ。
あちょっと
Hey, wait! Before I could say anything, she ran off to the student council room.
生徒会
It's dangerous to go alone. I got a minor jolt from playing the game when I found out that I got a minor jolt from the first time playing the game when I found out the New Generation murders. One of them happened on your birthday. Yeah, I'd say that'd be a little freaky. You're the student council president. You shouldn't be running in the hallways.
副部長なんだって
What did the vice president say?
いや別に
No, nothing. Some personal stuff. She wanted me to go back to the dorm? What should I do? There was no real need to listen to her, but knowing Kurisu, she might really come barging into my RV. But you know, there's just so much we don't understand.
そうですね。
Yeah.
なんか
My head's starting to hurt, right, Taku?
Taku?
Taku? Huh? Yeah, you're right.
そうだな
We hadn't really learned anything today. We had no proof, just a bunch of guesses.
な
Hey, why don't we talk to Kunasato?
久野里さん
Kunasato, huh?
ほら
She might know a lot that we don't, right?
いろいろ
あ
Oh,
あ、
that's probably a bad
それは
idea.
やめた方がいいっすよ。
Arimura shot down his idea. Why?
あれ
Didn't I tell you? She doesn't think of us as
あの
human.
人ってば
Huh?
伊藤先輩だって
She was really mean to you two, right? Or do you want to get off on that? Or do you get off on that? I could be like that too if you want. Wow.
だから俺はそういう趣味やねえっての
I'm really not into that. Don't say the same thing Miyashiro did. Orimura had gotten the same idea a bit about Ito that I had. I laughed a little. And then Orimura turned to us with a smile and continued.
別に冗談じゃない
I'm
ん
not
ですけど
kidding.
ね
I'm not kidding. I can tell when people are lying, right?
本当かどうかは久野里さん
Kunosato says a lot of mean things to us, but she's not joking. She really hopes we die.
私たちが死ねば
Huh? That was a surprise. Did she really hate us that much? What did we do? Arimura continued on, and in the same chipper tone a girl might use to discuss after-school plans with a friend.
あの人の目には
She only sees us as insects she can experiment on. Are you okay with being treated like an insect,
害虫
Ito?
と同じ扱いでいいんですか伊藤先輩
After the meeting in the newspaper club ended, I bought a Mountain View at the vending machine in the cafeteria and sat down on a nearby bench. I've been thinking so much that I was exhausted. I opened the plastic bottle and swallowed down the bubbling carbonation inside.
またそれ飲ん
You're
でる
drinking
の
that
か
stuff
よ
again? You really do like
ほ
it.
んと好きだな
Ito bought a can of black coffee and sat down on the bench with me. You know, that really surprised me back there.
うん
Huh?
お前の能
Your
力
power.
だま
Well, I'm still surprised myself.
とにかく感心したっていうか
Everybody seems a little freaked out that Mio is really not a fan of us. I was really impressed, I guess. It was cool.
やめろって
Stop it. I don't exactly want to hear that from another guy. That's something the heroine says to the male lead in a romantic comedy. And then the hero falls in love. Maybe.
いやそれもないな
Oh no, if I remember correctly, this upcoming scene is very... You? Oh boy. No, no way. A series of faces flittering through my mind. Serika with her dopey laugh, the ever-angry Kurisu, Kazuki playing Iso 2, and Arimura with her acid tongue. But I couldn't imagine starting a romance with any of them.
なんだよ
Oh, come on. I was trying to say something nice to you. Ito threw the empty can at the garbage bin.
あ
Ah, that's good stuff.
全然惜しくない
It is not. The garbage can had a lid and only a small hole to throw the cans in. Of course, there was no way he could get it inside.
なな
Hey, hey,
また
can you do it again?
何を
Do what again?
だから
Your power, dude.
だよ
Ito looked around the cafeteria as he spoke, making sure no one was too close.
え
What? Was this why he'd thrown the can? Oh boy. I'm not even sure what this would be. Fortunately, it was after school and the cafeteria was just about to close, so there weren't many people in the room. There were a few groups of people who were... Wow, there's only a positive one I just noticed. There's only a positive... There's only a... That's a first, I think. There were a few groups of people who were probably chattering about nothing important, and a few boys and girls intently reading their books. Nobody was paying attention to us. I didn't think anyone would see me and make a fuss, but... So how does your power work exactly? Is there a limit on how much weight, or how big an object, or how many things you can move? I haven't tested that yet. Then can you aim precisely? Do you ever move things other than what you mean to? I haven't tested that yet either. That was a good point. It would be best to check that stuff. What should I do? No, now wasn't a good time. I still wasn't used to it, and I was already exhausted. The idea of trying to focus even more didn't appeal to me. I'm not feeling up to it today. We can do it some other time. I leaned back on the bench and swallowed my Mountain View. Look at that, responsible choice. Okay, soy sauce, I'm curious. What the heck was the positive delusion? I leaned back on the bench and swallowed my Mountain View. Oh, don't be such a stingy asshole. Seriously, I'm not trying to be stingy or anything. But it did seem like I need to test the limits of my power, like Ito had said. Oh, wind and skirts. Of course. Of course. But it... Would they dare to have it, like, actually show it or just talk about it? That's the question. But it did seem like I need to test out the limits of my power, like Ito had said. I tossed a bottle of Mountain View into the garbage just like Ito had done a moment ago. Of course, it didn't even come close. It fell on the floor and started to roll. Tame for a delusion. October 15th. The medical examiner system. This system allows for examination, or in some cases an autopsy, to determine the cause of death in accidents or when a person has died from the disease or an unknown cause. The work of the medical examiner is done as follows. In the event of unusual death, first the forensic officer conducts an examination, followed by a post-mortem from the medical examiner. It shows them holding it down, so it's tamer than the scene with Kurisu near the store. Yeah, that makes sense. If the cause of death can be determined, the body is then turned over to the family. If the post-mortem examination fails to determine the cause of death, only then does the examiner conduct an autopsy. And if it is judged to be that a crime was involved, a further, more expansive judicial autopsy is conducted. But such an autopsy had already been performed on Tomoaki Watabe. It was extremely unusual for a second autopsy like this one to be performed. Well, Shinjo averted his eyes from the coroner's knife. He'd been to too many judicial autopsies, but it was something he'd never gotten used to. He probably never would, he thought. As for the person standing next to the coroner, she was staring at the open skull without the slightest trace of disgust. As I suspected, I'm seeing signs of enlargement. Enlargement of the brain? What else? Did you think I could look at a skull and tell you if his internal organs had enlarged? Shinjo's shoulders slumped a little. When he'd first met her, he'd been unsure of how to handle her, but now he'd actually felt kind of worried for her. Didn't that get tiring after a while? From what you said before, the cause of death was definitely suffocation. Suffocation alone wouldn't be enough to do this to you. Which means that it's the same as the other victims, huh? Any idea as to the cause? There's just not enough samples. Is it something unique to the victims, or is it something common to all gigalomaniacs? You don't know, huh? There is a way to find out, though. What? We can open up the skulls of Takaru Miyashiro and Hine Arimura. That will tell us whether or not it's something that all Gigolomaniacs have in common.
そうする。
Don't be stupid. We can't do that.
そんなことできるわけがないだろ。
冗談だ。
I'm joking. We got CRT scans and MRIs now. There's no need to chop open their skulls.
なんだ。
What? Is it so surprising that I would tell a joke?
そんなに意外か。
いや、
No. Shinjo thought to himself that she probably wasn't joking. She didn't like Gigolomaniacs. She hated them. And from the bottom of her heart. He didn't know why she despised them so much. Of course, there was probably a good reason for it, but he wished she would tone it down a bit. They probably didn't become Gigolomaniacs by choice, and more than anything, he didn't want to lose their help with the case.
さて、
Shinjo is the one normal person to see on Unhinged. Yes. So, what's the plan for the investigation now? If there were still test subjects under the hospital, there were things the police could do. But when he'd gone down there wasn't a trace of anything left.
証拠なら。
We've got evidence if we need it, though, right? Kunosada's voice was as cold as ever.
証拠？
Evidence?
何のためにあの。
Why do you think I brought that girl out of there? Make her tell you everything she knows.
おいおい。
Come on, she's a kid.
だぞ。
子供じゃない。
She's not a kid. She's a dangerous Gigolomaniac. Shinjo rubbed his temples, unsure of what to say. Back to Thursday. Somewhere else. Trustworthiness Investigation Corporation, Frisia. Katsuko Momose sat in a reception room in a messy corner of her office and sighed as she ran her hand through her hair.
返してください。
Please, let me go home.
私は
Please, let me go home. No matter how many questions she asked, or how she tried to get her to talk, that was the only answer she would get. Sometimes she tried asking if there was anything she wanted, or if she felt like eating anything, but the answer was always the same.
お願いです。
Please, let me go
返して
home.
ください。
She hadn't even made the tiniest bit of progress since the girl had arrived. Even the endlessly patient Momose would want to sigh after all that. She still didn't know where this Uki Yamazoe girl was from, or how she ended up in that hospital. But from what she'd seen, there was a chance she'd endured significant abuse. And then she was suddenly rescued from it and taken to a completely different environment, so she must have been very confused. She knew from experience that victims like that needed to be treated very carefully.
私が早く帰らないと
If I don't get back quickly, everyone will have trouble.
困ってしまうんです。
She kept repeating the same lines like a broken audio player. Momose was starting to think it was time for a different approach. She didn't know what would happen if she told the girl this, so she kept it a secret until now. But maybe I need to tell her and make her face reality.
お願いです。
Please, I need to go back there. I guess I don't have a choice. I'll try telling her. Once she made a decision, she didn't spend any time on second thoughts. This was both an advantage and a disadvantage.
あのね、ゆきちゃん。
Listen, Uki?
はい。
Yes?
そこまで帰りたい
If you really want to go back that badly, I can tell you something. Huh?
返してくれ
You're
る
letting me go back? Thank
あり
you.
がとうござ
聞いて。
Listen to
あな
me.
たがどれだけ
No matter how much you want to go back, it's impossible now. Impossible?
だって
Because the place you were in, that place under the hospital, it's gone now.
病院の地下にあっ
Huh? Momose was relieved to finally see shock on Uki's face. Good, she does have normal
その
feelings.
感情がある。
Like Kurisu had said, they hadn't done any operations on her that would destroy her ability to experience emotions.
この前ね。
Right after you came here, that detective, you know, the young one who looks tired all the time, he said he went to that hospital. The girl simply listened to Momose speak, her eyes wide. Momose kept talking, watching her carefully.
それでね。
And he went to the autopsy room, was it? And then to the basement where you were.
でもね。
But there was nothing there, he said. The room you were in was empty. But then where did everyone go? What about all the people there?
いなかったそうよ。
He said there was no one there.
誰も
No one? Uki seemed to be trying her best to understand what Momose just said. And then,
嘘
you're lying.
嘘
You're lying. You're lying.
そんな嘘ついてない。
Why would I lie? It's true. But then what do I do?
じゃあ私はどうすれば私は
What do I do? Tears started to silently fall from Uki's eyes. Ah, what's wrong, Takaru? You look so glum. I was born looking this way. Come on, can't you say something more fun? Dad was as jovial as ever. Without his lab coat, no one would ever believe he was a doctor. Well, I bet it feels good to be back home again, right? No, not really. Well, you've just started living on your own, so maybe you don't realize it yet, but eventually you'll come to know that home is where the heart is. Haha. In the end, I'd come back here to Alba Dorm, because Kurisu had told me to do so at school. Someone might be after you, right? It's dangerous to be alone. It doesn't have to be forever. It can just be for a little while. Live at home until this is resolved. I wasn't her slave or anything, but just like she said, it was dangerous to be alone right now. Especially when we didn't know who the killer was or what they were after. If someone was nearby, it would be easier to get a hold of Shinjo and his allies if I needed to. And I was probably never going to be able to tell this to Kurisu, but the feelings I'd felt when I left home were starting to disappear. After seeing Kurisu get hurt, or try to protect me, or cry for my sake despite being such a strong girl, I started to understand some things that I hadn't known when I left. What the hell, damn it? I realized what I was thinking and shook my head. No way. I wasn't like Yuto, who could never seem to get away from his sister. Hey, why are you turning red? Nothing. Anyway, go put your stuff away. Nono's kept your room clean. Oh. Dad didn't get mad when I left, or when I'd come back. Come to think of it, he only said one thing on the day that I left. Once you understand why Nono felt what she had to do... Excuse me. Once you understand why Nono felt she had to do what she did, come back. Bye. Okay then. I'll go put my stuff away. Hey, Dad, is it true that Brother Takaru's coming back? As I went toward my room, Yui appeared. I could see Yuto behind her. Yep, he's back already. Oh. Yui's face almost broke into a broad smile when she saw me, but quickly forced herself to assume a strict expression. What are you doing? Huh? You have to clean the bath and the kitchen and the hallway. Yui and I have been doing all your work for you while you were gone. Oh, sorry. I apologize without thinking. So you're going to do our jobs for a while now, okay? Got it? Yeah. Brother Takaru, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. No, you need to be strict about this. Formality, even between friends, is a Japanese saying, right? But if you tell him that, he'll go away again. And after he just came back, too. I said he has to, and that's that. Hey, Takaru, don't you think Yui's starting to turn into Nono? Yeah, especially when she's mad. Oh, I'll be right back, guys. Kiko's trying to get in. See? Kiko. She has a favorite spot on my chair in here, and yeah, she's ready. No, nothing. Sorry. Yui put her hands on her hips and puffed up her flat chest to glare at me. Why do you mention her flat chest? She did look just like Kurisu when she did that. Brother Takaru is only so selfish because you spoil him, Dad. Oh, now she's mad at me, huh? So, Brother Takaru, you're not going anywhere again, are you? Huh? No. You know how sad Big Sis Nono's been since you left, right? And Yu's missed you a lot too. I see. And no, it hasn't really bothered me. And suddenly the expression on her face changed. It hasn't, but... Hey... Yui? Stop that. I'm not good with that stuff. I can't handle it when people cry. It's nothing. Yui covered her face with her hands and then ran into her room. Yudo followed quickly after her. Dad scratched his head and sighed a little as he saw them go. Come on, go put your things away, Takaru. Okay. I got away as quickly as I could. Excuse me. Whew. That scared me. I didn't expect Yui to start crying all of a sudden. I thought nothing would really change around here, even if I left. But, did they really need me here that much? If they did... No, but... Huh? Since I was lost in thought, the knocking sound startled me. As I sat there last night, I was suddenly startled by... What the heck? That was a bit of a repeat. Brother Takaru. Oh, hey, Yudo. Big Sis Nono says to come down when you've changed. Yeah, thanks. What is it? About Big Sis Yui. Yui crossed his... That's not... Yudo crossed his hands over his stomach and fidgeted as he looked up at me. She was mad about a lot of stuff, but she said she really wanted you to come home, so she wasn't really mad. It's okay, I know. Really? Yeah, so head on down. I'll get changed and come join you. Okay. Yudo looked a little relieved as he left the room. Yudo's gotten a little taller, huh? Yudo and Yui had come here at almost the exact same time I had. I was worried about how it would go with it when we first started, but... The Shibuya earthquake hadn't just taken their parents from them, it had caused them severe psychological trauma. During the earthquake, Yudo had been trapped in a dark place for a long time all by himself. As a result, he was still terrified of darkness and being alone. That's why he still clung to his sister. And Yui, after the nightmarish incident she'd gone through after the earthquake, she'd become desperately afraid of men. Oh god, I'm afraid of what that means. At first, she was even afraid of me. But over time, we started to open up to one another. When I'd left, they seemed to be doing a lot better. And now, Yui had her act together even more. And Yudo was still young, but he did seem a little more grown up than he had before. Even if the world didn't look like it had changed, time was still passing. But what about me? Had I changed? Okay, it's ready. Alright, let's eat. Let's eat. It feels like forever since we had sukiyaki. What are you talking about? We had it last month. Listen, that was chicken. You can't call it sukiyaki unless you make it with beef. We don't have the money to waste on that. It's a certain someone's fault for saying, we can't take money to treat people when they're in trouble. Well, not that it bothers me. You don't have to put it like that. Show me some more respect. Right. Here, Takaru, give me your bowl. I'll give you some. Kurisu reached out her hand towards me. I'm fine. You are not fine. You haven't been eating right lately, have you? Just give me the bowl. Kurisu grabbed the bowl for me and heaped the beaten egg high with meat and vegetables. Okay, sure. I don't know what that means. Here, make sure you eat. It is always weird to see Takaru. Like, even though Takaru is the icon on the Switch, it's still weird to see him when that happens. Brother Takaru, there's some meat here. Take it. I've got enough, really. What? You'll eat Big Sis Nono's meat, but not mine? Are you pretending to be a drunk old man or something? Hey, wait guys, the meat's all gone. It's first come, first serve. That's what you always say. You always say it. I just said you should show me some more respect. Everyone was seated around a single pot, eating dinner. I thought that the only point of the dinner was to eat until you were full, but... Takaru, Yudo, there's more meat in the fridge. Have some. Hey! You need to lose some weight, Dad. Eat your vegetables. Poor guy. You know, I don't remember raising you to be like that. Even if you don't remember it, you did, so give up. Part of me enjoyed sitting around the table and listening to everyone's conversation. Oh. No, that wasn't true. I definitely wasn't homesick. Maybe it was just that having someone near me made me feel better. Maybe it was having Kurisu offer to help me when I'd been in trouble on my own. But it definitely wasn't that I was happy to be home or glad to have come back to where I belonged. Takaru? Brother Takaru? Oh, that seemed like a bit of a relapse there. Huh? What? You want some tea or not? I've been asking you and you keep ignoring me. Oh, sorry. You know him. He's probably thinking about something overly complicated. What do you mean overly complicated? I never overcomplicate things. Right, stop. No one cares. Do you want some tea? I'd rather have some Mountain View. We don't have any here. Yudo? What is it? Why are you smiling? It's just more fun having everyone here. You look really happy too, Big Sis Nono. Do I? Yeah, maybe I do. We got our happy things happening, which makes me wonder when the next bad thing is going to happen. Are we just waiting for the next murder? Which I forget the day of the next murder. I just know that we're on like the 16th, I believe. It didn't work. I gotten a lot better at seeing my D-sword, but I still didn't know how to grab hold of it. I asked Arimura for help, but her answers weren't really helpful. Unlike with my psychokinesis, all I needed to do was draw my D-sword from the Dirac Sea. I should be able to do it alone. But when I was by myself, it was just an illusion, unless I real-booted it. Unless I real-booted it, I wouldn't be able to use it to attack or defend. If I wanted to use it as a weapon, I needed to share the delusion with someone else, just like with my other power. At least, that's what Arimura had said. But before that, I needed to be able to grab hold of it. Damn it, one more time. Oh, look out a window for some mountain view. Bro is in denial. Yeah, really is. Reach out your arm. Fix the image of your sword in your mind. God damn it. Whenever I tried to get close to the D-sword, it moved away from me like a mirage. If I just flailed my arm at it, I couldn't reach it. My hand's starting to go numb. Takaru, I'm coming in. Oh, wait. Okay. I had my hand stretched out like a TV hero in the middle of his transformation. And Kurisu was staring at me, her eyes wide. No, it's not what it looks like. I'm teaching Yudo a new transformation pose. Yudo says he's too old for that stuff now. Huh? He does? Kurisu put her hand on my cheek and her hand on her cheek and sighed. Excuse me. If you're planning on becoming a real hero on your own, give it up, okay? I am not. How old do you think I am?
いくつになっても
No matter how old you get, you always act like a kid. And then she stared into my eyes. I could tell that she wasn't blaming me and that she was genuinely concerned.
タクル
Takaru, sit down over there, okay? No, I'm just about to take a bath.
いいから
Just
座り
sit
な
down,
さい
all right?
ね
Oh, okay. I sat down on the bed as I was told.
タクル
Takaru? Kurisu took a step toward the bed and looked down over me. Humans are strange creatures. Whenever someone looks down on us, they seem bigger and more powerful. I quickly stood up and looked down over her instead. When I first met her, she was almost at eye level with me, but now, I'm not training to try and do something bad.
能力のせいで狙われているのに
Someone's after you because of your powers. If you keep trying to use them like that, it's the other way around. If I can learn to master them, I can protect myself, and I can protect everyone in the newspaper club or here at Aoba dorm.
だから
But that's the police's job, right? I don't think the police are going to be able to save us if we need it.
けど
But what about you, Kurisu? You always say you're going to protect us, but what are you going to do if a psychic attacks?
それは
I'll... See? So I've got no choice but to learn how to use my powers. Kurisu stared down at her feet, silently. Then she raised her head and looked me in the eye. Listen, Takaru, I've known you for a long time, so I can tell what you're going to start thinking. What am I going to start thinking?
タクルはね
You're going to put yourself in danger. You'll try and use your power to catch the killer, maybe.
例えば
I gulped.
自分の力で犯人を捕ま
I
えて
hadn't really thought about it yet, but knowing me, I'd probably, definitely think that. What? You're not a psychic, so how do you know the future?
いつも言ってるでしょ
I always know you, right?
能力なんか
Even without any psychic powers, I can tell exactly what you're going to do.
とにかく
Anyway, please, just focus on protecting yourself, okay, Takaru?
お願い
Please. Okay. Okay, then pinky swear. Huh? Pinky swear? Are we supposed to be little kids? No way, that's embarrassing.
嘘ついたら
If you lie, you're going to get a lot worse than being forced to swallow 1,000 needles. And that's really scary. Yeesh. Then the heavens intervened to save me, and the phone rang out like Gjallarhorn? The hell? Horn held by the Norse gods, the god who guards the gates of the gods of Norse mythology. Sounded said to herald the arrival of Ragnarok. Well, there you go. Alright, got all that, got all that. I hadn't gotten a new one yet, so of course it was Kurisu's. You're not going to answer it?
今はあなたと
I'm
話を
talking
して
to
い
you
る
right
ところ
now.
でしょ
But it might have something. But it might have something to do with the case. Yeah, there's something about like if you break a pinky swear, you got your punishment is swallowing 1,000 needles. I don't know what that's all about or the origin of it, but it's definitely a Japanese thing. She must have thought I might be right because she took out the phone and looked at the screen, and then she looked concerned.
新庄さんだ
It's
わ
Shinjo. Huh? I'd only said it to distract her, but evidently the call really did have something to do with the case. She quickly hit the answer button and put the phone up to her ear. I watched her nervously.
もしもしクルス
Hello,
です
this is Kurisu. Yes?
はい
Yes? Yeah?
はいええ
On the other side of the phone, I could hear a note of concern in Shinjo's voice. I couldn't tell for sure, but he seemed to be saying that someone had gone missing.
いいえ来てません
No, they haven't.
大体この
They
家
shouldn't even know
を
where this
知らない
place is to
はずだし
begin with. Huh? Takaru?
タクルが
What? What did I do? Kurisu moved the phone away from her ear and turned back towards me.
山添さんってこう
You know that
知ってたよね
Yamazoe girl, right? Huh? Yeah, the girl that we saved from the hospital basement.
その子がね
She's gone missing, he says. What? She was missing?
タクルが連れ出した
He
人
wanted to
の
know
人
if you'd
って
taken her. Of course not. I've been with you the whole day.
そうよね
That's right, yeah. Then give me the phone. Give me the phone. I want to talk to Shinjo. I reached my hand toward the phone. Shinjo had given me the location of an office in a multi-purpose building in Sakuragawa-Kacho. Jesus. There were rows of desks there, stacked high with paper that I normally would have considered a cornucopia of information. That is a heck of a name. But I didn't have the time to worry about them now. I rushed up to Shinjo as soon as I saw him. She's gone? Was she kidnapped? How could that happen with the police here? Soy Sauce saying it's definitely not as severe and as malicious at the start of the game, but Takaru is showing signs of relapsing to how he was at the start of the story. Knowing information got to his head and made him believe he could take on the case, something Nono spent a long time trying to talk him out of. And now with psychic powers, that mentality is starting to fester back. Yeah, that's a sense I was definitely going to get. He's just like, oh, I have power now. I actually am special. No, like I said on the phone, that's not it. But it's true that she's missing, right? Takaru, stop it. What's gotten into you? Oh, yeah, sorry. Uki Yamazari had reminded me a little too much of Senri Minamisawa, and I'd lost control of myself. Kurisu quickly moved to stop me. By the way, Kurisu had come to keep an eye on me. In her words, to make sure I didn't do anything stupid. Anyway, it wasn't a kidnapping. She just suddenly disappeared. But doesn't that mean she was kidnapped? She probably went to the hospital. No way. Shinjo, Mio, and I were here at the same time. Momose, the CEO of Frisia, had been looking confused and concerned ever since I had arrived. Hey, Hera's Live, how's it going? When I'd first met her the night we snuck into AH Tokyo General, she seemed like a loud, boisterous sort of woman, but now she felt kind of tired. We sat her on the sofa while the rest of us talked over here, and then we looked at the sofa and she was gone. Are you sure she didn't just go to the bathroom? Kurisu pointed at the toilets in the back. But Shinjo had put his hands on his forehead, thinking, and said, that was the first place we looked, but she's nowhere to be found. In fact, there's no sign that she even opened the doors or windows. As far as wacky adventures, really nothing much. So it's just sort of getting some more character development as we set up the next phase of the game. There's a lot of character development stuff. There's only one possibility. She's a gigolomaniac, so she used her power to escape. Her power? Come to think of it, I still hadn't asked. What power did Uki Yamazoe have? Teleportation or something like that? Kunosato whispered an answer, her voice full of hate, without even bothering to look back at me. I don't know. You don't know? Yeah, she barely answered any of our questions. Kunosato tried to ask her about her power, but didn't get anywhere. If it was teleportation, she would have left a long time ago, but she didn't. Uki is a little special, and that's what got us. Special? I've been thinking that maybe we should turn her over to an orphanage. And I was just talking with Shinjo and Mio, and they both gladly agreed. I didn't agree. Neither did I. Shut up, you're making things complicated. Momose motioned for them to be quiet. Hey, Jason Rocks. So anyway, they agreed, and I took Uki down to the parking lot and tried to get her in the car. I know someone who runs a facility like that, and I wanted to visit them. Then you were the one who took her away. So why was everyone upset that she disappeared? Momose had taken her outside. There was no mystery there. As Kurisu and I stood there with our mouths hanging open, Shinjo interrupted. At least, that's how it went in her dream. Huh? Her dream? No, it really happened. I can remember the sensation of her hand and the rumble in the car when the engine started. It was all real. But the moment you tried to get Uki in the car, you came back to reality, right? And then you were in your office, talking with us. Yes, that's right. We never spoke about any kind of orphanage, and we never saw you leave. You were here talking the whole time. I'm sure of it. Now that's a mysterious power. But Uki disappeared from the room suddenly.
あの
What do you mean? I don't understand.
よく多分それが
I think that's her power. Once we capture her, I'll look into it again. Kunosato's use of the word capture pissed me off. I could tell that, like Arimura had said, she didn't even think of us as humans. But she didn't have to talk to that way about the little girl, did she? Excuse me. Even if she didn't like psychics, did she have to go that far? I glared at her, but Kunosato didn't seem bothered in the slightest. As for where she went, if you two don't know, there's only one possibility.
私も今
I was just thinking the same
そう
thing.
思ってたと
Which means that life's about to get a little
そうだと
tough.
すれば
どこなんですか
What do you mean? Shinjo answered me with a bitter sigh.
君もよく知ってる
A place you know well, her old home.
え
What? You can't mean...
うん
No. Uki kept insisting she had to go home, you
あそ
know?
こへかい
あんな地獄みたいな
But that place was hell.
なん
Why?
で
さてな
I couldn't say.
とにかく
Anyway, we need to get her back before things turn into even more of a mess. Yeesh.
タクル
Takaru. Hey, Takaru? Shh, what if they catch
どう
us?
するんだよ
An hour had passed since we first spoken to Momose at Frisia. Kurisu and I were hiding behind some plants near AH General Tokyo General.
新庄さんたちに
You have to let them handle this. If we amateurs screw this up,
それじゃダメなんだ
that's not happening. I'm finding Uki Yamazoe and taking her back to Albadorn. What? Why?
彼女
I'm not letting Kunosato have
さ
her.
んには渡せない
I was gritting my teeth hard in anger.
タクル
Takaru? Afterwards, Shinjo, Momose, and Kunosato had started to come up with a plan to get inside the basement of the hospital. Of course, they weren't going to let us come along. We were told to go home, and at first, that was my plan. But then things changed. Kunosato said that she wasn't sending Uki Yamazoe to an orphanage, but to a research center she was affiliated with. She said that they were going to research her powers there, but Kunosato had treated not only Aramura and I, but also little Uki, as nothing more than guinea pigs. And I'd heard her use the word capture many times. And she was supposed to stop us from doing stupid things. Yeah, she's not very good at that, is she? Not in this case, anyway.
あの子苦しい時期
She's finally free from those terrible experiments and out of that awful basement. Was Kunosato going to send her right back to the same old life she'd experienced before? Just imagining it terrified me, and it made me come to a decision. I would save her.
もしここであの子を見放
If
した
I
ら
abandoned her here, I'd be doing the exact same thing I did before. I'd be abandoning someone again in the same exact place.
昔僕は
A long time ago, I abandoned your friend Senri Minamisawa here, and I ran away. I still regret that to this day.
あの山添って子
That Yamazoe girl is another victim of these experiments, and this time I want to save her.
そんなことくらいで
I don't think that'll be enough to get Minamisawa to forgive me, but I want to do it anyway. Sheesh. Kurisu's voice choked up. She must have been remembering what happened to her best friend. Hero complex, kinda. Takaru, listen to me. Huh?
本当は
Senri actually...
彼女のこと
You know something about her?
知ってるおいクルス
Tell me, Kurisu. I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time thinking straight. Senri died in the experiment. It's not your fault, I swear it.
死んだの
クルス
Kurisu.
だから
So you don't need to blame yourself. You can just forget it, okay? Kurisu looked down at her feet. When she did, her hair covered her eyes, and I couldn't tell what she was thinking. Hey, Dad Alpha Lion.
何を言いかけて
Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying Advance Wars. That's awesome. Kurisu was about to say something and stopped. Just as I was about to ask, I heard soft footsteps. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking it out, but it's not on the cards anytime soon. Like, I'll be honest, I'd probably pick up both Final Fantasy or Mega Man Battle Network beforehand. But that's just the fault of there's being so many good games coming out. Just as I was about to ask, I heard soft footsteps. They're here. Momose's van was in the same alley where she picked us up before. They'd been watching the hospital for a while now. I saw two shadows that probably belonged to Shinjo and Kunosato leave the van and run into the grounds.
向こうが動いた。
Kurisu, they're on the
大
move.
丈夫か？
Can you do
で
this?
きるか？
Huh? Yeah. I tapped her on the shoulder and she looked up. That's why they called her the Empress of Heikiho Academy. There was no trace of the sadness that had been there a moment ago.
ごめんね。ちょっとセリを思い出しちゃって。でも、
That's a pretty good line of thought, right, Doubt Alpha Lion? It's highly unlikely it'll go on sale, although there are some cases of games going on sale, of those games going on sale. So, sorry, I was just remembering Senri, but I'm okay now.
本当はここで待ってるの
Honestly, I'd rather you wait here. But I couldn't real boot on my own. I needed a partner, no matter what.
何言ってるの？
What are you talking about? I'm not sitting out here and worrying about you.
だと思った。
I thought you'd say that. We followed Shinjo and Kunosato from a distance. Excuse me. A moment later, they had pressed themselves up against the wall near the rear emergency entrance. Even from a distance, I could tell it was more heavily secured than before. The lock seemed to be a newer and sturdier model, but Shinjo must have already had the key because he took something out of his pocket and started to put it into the lock.
そこから入るつも
They're planning on getting it in from there, huh? Alright then. I quickly created an image in my mind. I looked at the key-like object he was holding and envisioned it flying away. Damn it, I should have trained more. The more I started to panic, the more I lost focus. I couldn't make the delusion clear in my mind. Damn it. Calm down, you're fine. Calm down. Okay, got it. I could see the D-sword floating in front of me.
来るぜ。
Kurisu, I'm going to use her brain for a little bit. Well, that's not a worrying statement at all. Jeez.
どうぞ。
Go ahead, though I guess that's a weird thing to say. No kidding. I imagined the delusion I'd come up with going inside Kurisu, Shinjo, and Kunosato's minds. Kurisu gasped a little. She must have felt something. The delusion was shared between us, and instantly the Real boot was complete. Give me your brain. The metallic object in Shinjo's hand rolled away and hit the ground with a clang. Then I heard the two of them gasp. The key rolled along the ground in a very unnatural way until it rolled down a metal sewer grate, just like I'd imagined. Yes.
バカ、隠れ
You
てて。
idiot! Hide, Takaru! Just as I was about to make a victory pose, Kurisu grabbed my hand and pulled me back. Then she dragged me down onto the ground.
悪い。
Sorry,
調子に乗らない
don't
の。
get cocky. This is why you need me with you.
私がついてないとダメなのよ。
Her hand was shaking a little. She was probably still scared of my power no matter how many times she saw it. That was how most people would react. I hesitated a moment and then gripped her hand in return. Then I let it go and looked over at Shinjo and Kunosato. The two of them whispered to each other and then silently headed back toward the van.
今だ。
Now. Yeah. We kept low as we headed for the emergency entrance. When we reached the door, I turned around towards Kurisu. She caught up a moment later, but her breathing was a little heavy.
すまない。
Sorry, I went a little fast. No, I'm sorry. I wish I was more athletic. Can you open the door?
多分。
I think so, Kurisu. I'm going to do it once more. No, probably a few times.
何回かある
Sorry.
よ。
構わない。
I don't care. That's why I'm
そ
here.
のために来てるんだから。
I stared at the door. The lock was stronger than before, probably because of the time we'd broken in. I imagined the lock flipping and the door opening. There was a heavy click, and the door opened like I'd imagined. It's interesting to see him getting control of all this. Oh, good night, Cat Evie. Good night. And yeah, I don't know how much you've seen before, Dad Alpha Lion, but yeah, it's a mystery visual novel featuring psychics. Thanks to my power, we were able to make it inside with no trouble. I remembered the route to the room where we'd found Uki, so we headed there. But as we walked through the darkness, I saw that Kurisu was acting a little strange. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I'm just a little claustrophobic actually, but I'm fine, don't worry about me.
平気って。
Fine? You're sweating really bad. And then I realized something. Is her injury bothering her? She seemed like she was okay, but it had been a really bad injury. It couldn't have fully healed up by now.
おい
Hey,
来るぜ
Kurisu,
平気だから
I'm fine. Let's hurry, okay?
急ぎましょう。
Yeah. She pushed me onward before I could stop.
もうちょっとだ
We're almost there. It's not that much farther to the room, so hang in there. That's right. It was right around this corner. Suddenly, we heard her voice sobbing in the darkness. Kurisu and I almost leapt into each other's arms. It was the voice of a little girl.
タクル、
Takaru, was this...
この
Was it a ghost? No, that was dumb. Which meant it had to be... Kurisu and I nodded and stepped toward the direction of the room. Just like Shinjo had said, the room was completely empty. The beds and the patients that had been confined there were all gone. Hey, Lon Lon. It was just an empty room. And standing in the middle of the empty room was a crying Uki Yamazawa. How long had she been there? She was crying like a child who'd lost her mother. Nobody's there. Nobody's here. Nobody's here. Someone, answer me. Kurisu couldn't bear to watch. She ran over and gave the girl a big hug. Soon, Kurisu was crying too.
今まで
You really hung in there, huh?
よく頑張ったね。
But it's okay now. So let's go home, okay?
だからお家へ帰ろう。
But Uki must not have heard her because she just stood there crying silently for a long, long time. The whole time there was nothing I could do but watch. You okay? Want me to take over for you, Takaru?
いいよ
I'm fine. We're almost
目
there.
の前だから
Seems like the pace is quickening because it feels like they would have before just like we went to this place, we went to this, we went down this hallway, we got to this point. So the pace is definitely getting a little faster. When we finally made it back to Alba dorm, I took Uki off my back and put her on the sofa. And then I lay flat on the floor with my arms and legs stretched out. I hate to say it, but this is pathetic. She wasn't even that heavy. I was just out of shape.
だから変わるって
I told you I'd take over. If I let you do it, you're so clumsy you might drop her.
失礼。
How rude. I'm not that bad. I think I'm in better shape than you are, Takaru.
タクルよりマシだと思うんですけど。
Kurisu's eyes were red-rimmed. Her face was red from where she tried to rub away the tears. She must have been embarrassed by it, because she turned away from me and said something mean.
はいはい
Right, whatever. We gotta tell Dad about her.
この子
Oh, yeah, you're right. After Kurisu left to get him, I lifted my tired body off the floor and onto the sofa. As I'd expected, Uki hated the idea of leaving the basement. But after Kurisu's fervent attempts at persuasion and my own insistence that nobody was coming back to the basement, she'd finally clung to Kurisu and started to break down. And as I carried her on my back, she'd gotten tired and fallen asleep.
この子の家族は
Where is her family, her real home? What about her school?
この家を
I hadn't a chance to look the first time we'd gone into the basement, and that data was probably long gone by now.
父さん。
Dad says he's coming up.
うん
Okay. Oh, I don't mind the faster pacing at all. Kurisu sat next to Uki on the sofa and softly stroked her hair.
この子。
I wonder if there's a missing person report for her.
新庄さんの話
Shinjo said he couldn't find any data on
該
her.
当する
そう。
I see.
やっぱり
It might be because of the Shibuya quake. After the earthquake, more data on missing persons and casualties had gone missing than you could imagine. Sheesh. And to top that off, this year had seen the largest solar storm. Excuse me. Ugh. And to top that, reading a lot that makes me yawn. I'm sorry. Reading dialogue out loud, I should say. And to top that off, this year had seen the largest solar storm in history affect all kinds of electronic devices. Shibuya hadn't been hit that hard, but a lot of data in other regions had been lost.
わかってるのは名前だけか。
All we know is her name, huh? If only she at least had some kind of clue.
ののね、
Big sis Nono? Brother Takaru?
何かあったの？
Is something wrong? The door opened. Yui and Yudo peeked inside. The two of them froze next to the door.
まだ寝てなかったの？
You two are still awake?
寝ようと思って
We were trying to sleep when we heard you
のの姉たち
talking.
の声が
Is everything okay? You're not fighting again, are you?
喧嘩とかしてない？
Kurisu looked at each other without thinking. We're fine. We're not fighting.
私たち喧嘩なんて。本当？
Really? I hope so, but... Suddenly, Yui stopped. She saw the girl sleeping on the sofa and her eyes went wide. I thought she was just surprised to see a strange girl sleeping on the sofa, but... Uki? What? What the hell? Oh, that solar storm is a reference to robotics notes and it plays a role within its story. Oh, of course it does. She said something we'd never expected. Huh?
どうして？
What is Uki doing here? Yui? You know her?
知ってるの？この。
Yeah, I think so, but
で
wait,
も待って。
that's
そん
impossible.
なはず。
Yui walked over to the sofa and sat down next to Kurisu. And then she stared at Uki Yamazoe.
ごめん。私の
Sorry,
勘違い
I think I was wrong.
いや
No, you're right. This girl's name is Uki.
だって
But that doesn't make any sense. How can she look the exact same as she used to?
昔のまま。
As she used to?
うきちゃん、
Uki was in my class when I was in second grade.
小学校2年の時の。
And the next morning,
もう一度整理するぞ。
we'll go over this once more, okay?
名前は
Her name is Uki Yamazoe. She's the same age as Yui, so either 13 or 14.
13もしくは
Right. Dad was filling out what looked like a medical chart on his computer.
小学校2年の
She was in Yui's class in second grade, but shortly before the earthquake, she stopped coming to school, and you don't know what happened to her after that.
そう。
Yeah.
ね
And she hasn't changed a bit since 6 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
6年
Yes, I don't think she's changed at all.
一応証拠も
I
見つけ
found
た
proof
わ
too. Yui showed us a photo. Oh. It was a class photo from her school. I could see a young Yui in a row of children. And in the front row next to the teacher, I saw Uki.
これ
So, huh.
どう思うよ
Older than she looks. What do you think, Takaru?
他人の空にっていう
It can't just be someone who looks like her.
うきちゃん本人だよね。
That has to be Uki.
うん
Which means some kind of problem with her growth hormones, perhaps.
そうかな
みんな、うきちゃん
Everyone,
が起きたわよ。
Uki's awake. Really?
あ
Okay, bring her in.
ちょっと父さん。
Wait, Dad?
あ
おうじゃない
No
の
shouting in front of
う
Uki.
きち
You
ゃん
have to
の
be
前でそん
gentler.
な声出しちゃダメよ。
これで普通
Yui doesn't look that super different from then either. I mean, good point. I mean, in anime, there's a point where it's like child, teenager, teenager, old man, old person. There's a lot of designs like that.
優しくする。
Just be gentle.
はい
Okay. Like I bet the dad there is only like 30. Dad glared at her and started mumbling about how he hadn't raised her be like this again.
うきちゃん、
Uki, you can come in now. After a long pause, a small girl entered the room, trembling. Kurisu took her hand and walked her over to a chair, then sat her down.
うきちゃん、
Uki, good morning. She flinched away from Yui's cheerful voice. Soy sauce. Shout out to Fire Emblem Engage's 30-year-old character with full gray hair and wrinkles. Right? I knew it. Once you hit 30 in Japan, you are just ancient. Oh, you don't remember me, do you? You only know what I looked like 6 years ago. Yui took out the class photo and pointed to herself. See? This is me. Yui Tachibana. Do you remember me? Yui Tachibana. Oh. Uki looked at the girl in the photo, then at Yui. Then she gave a little start of surprise. You remember? Oh, yes, it's been a long time. Oh, come on, we're classmates. You don't have to be so awkward. But Dad typed something else into his computer as he watched them. That settles it then. Yeah, there was no question of it now. Uki Yamazoe was definitely Yui's old classmate. It's amazing how these things just connect all around us. That would go a long way toward tracking down her family. Anyway, that's amazing. I still can't believe it's really you. We were surprised, but it seemed to be Yui who was most surprised of all. Her missing classmate had suddenly shown up at her home, and her brother and sister had brought her there. And she looked exactly the same as she had 6 years ago. Uki, can I ask you some things? Oh yeah, I heard about the Suicide Squad getting delayed all the way to February 2024. I wouldn't doubt if they're restructuring it to get rid of the live service thing. Oh, yes, sir. She must have seen Dad's white coat and gotten nervous because she suddenly sat up straight. Have you ever been told you had a hereditary illness? Something that caused you to stop growing? I don't understand, I'm sorry. Then, do you remember when you stopped getting taller? How was it when you were in Yui's class? I'm sorry, I don't know that either. But something weird happened to me after the earthquake. I see, so it was after the earthquake. Yes. It was previously sandwiched between Zelda and Street Fighter 6, so that it should help it. I mean, one could hope. Not a good position, honestly. I see. So PTSD induced damage to the growth hormones, or perhaps some kind of chromosomal abnormality, like Turner syndrome? Primary symptoms include delayed or absent development of secondary sexual characteristics like a menstrual period, abnormally shaped organs, and decreased height. Okay. I'd have to have a real specialist take a look at you. Dad made some adjustments to a chart as he whispered to himself. The look on his face was far more serious than he usually let us see. Oh yeah, while this series is notorious for its slow burns to set up settings and characters, to a fault that as the pacing can drag, it does make back halves start coming together rapidly. Yeah, it definitely seems like that. Latter half of Steins Gate in particular is a gut punch after gut punch. Jeez. Yuto poked his head through the door. He must have been standing in the hallway the whole time and looking in on us. Yuto, if you don't get going, you'll be late for school. That's right, you. I'm fine. I'll go in a second. He seemed a little scared by his sister's scolding, but he summoned up his courage and came inside, then stuck his hand out towards Uki. Here, take this. In his hands was a tiny chocolate bar. It was the kind of chocolate you could buy in huge packs for cheap at the supermarket. Huh? Oh, yes, thank you. Hey, you. Uki's older than you. Don't talk to her like that. Talk to her that way. Older than me? Yuto looked very confused and a little unsatisfied. What's wrong, Uki? Oh, it just feels a little strange. I'm not used to this. This? Man, Yui really did not grow that much. 6 years and that's all she grew. That's not so great. Fun fact about 30 being considered old man in Japan. In One Piece, Foxy is 36 in his debut. Of course he is. Holy crap, has it been almost 10 years since Arkham Knight? That's insane. Sheesh. Ah, she got what Gary Coleman had. Oh, that makes yeah, that works. She just isn't aware of it. 2015. Holy crap. Well, seeing a family get together and talk like this. What about your family? Shinjo had said that she wouldn't tell him anything, but maybe in this environment she'd be more willing to talk. When I was little, they left me with the doctors and went away. My eyes narrowed when I heard her say the doctors. She was probably talking about the scientists in that underground facility. And then she'd been a victim of their human experiments, just like Senri Minamisawa. Why had her parents done something so horrible to her? You stayed in that basement the whole time. Yes. Why didn't you, well, run away? Mother told me not to go anywhere. That's terrible. Yui put her hand up to her mouth. I could feel the rage boiling over within me. She's just like me. Her parents had ignored her ever since she was a small child, and eventually they just disappeared. But still, she wasn't able to get away from them. You were taking care of the victims. I mean, the people there, right? Why? Because of the earthquake. There was a sadness in her eyes as she remembered the people that had vanished. After the earthquake, the doctors went away. So did the nurses who cared for everyone. So the hospital told me to take care of them instead. What the hell? What about school? You're wearing the uniform for Hekiho Academy, right? At your age, you should be in middle school. Hekiho Academy? Our school. You're a student there, right? But Uki shook her head. These belong to a friend. A friend? At first, it wasn't just me who was taking care of the people in the basement. I had a friend who was my age. Sometimes she wore these, and I always told her they were cute. I see. Did that girl come from the outside then? Yes. I see. So she was a student. So she was the student at Hekiho. At first, she worked alongside me, but she started to get sicker and sicker and didn't come as often. Then one day she gave me these as a present. She said that she didn't need them anymore and that I should take good care of them. Uki looked down at her shoes. So these clothes are very important to me. I always keep them clean and wear them all the time. When I saw her expression, I understood. Her friend probably knew that she was dying. She'd been a victim of the same horrible experiments as Minamisawa and Uki and gotten sick as a result. Then you took those old people out. Takaru? Kurisu interrupted me gently. Let's not ask too many questions at once, okay? Oh. Uki, I know this has to be painful for you, so let's talk about it more tonight instead, okay? You're right. And we haven't eaten breakfast yet. You must be hungry, right? No, I'm not. There was a cute little rumble from her tummy. She gasped a little in embarrassment and turned red. It's weird to have her acting normal again. Dad, that's okay with you, right? Yeah. Hey, Uki, this girl may look scary, but her cooking's top-notch. Go upstairs and eat. Dad. Kurisu pursed her lips as she took Uki's hand and stood up. Oh, here, you can have another piece of chocolate. Thank you. As she left, Yuto quickly gave her another piece of chocolate. At lunchtime, Ito and I were heading to the club room. Then that Uki Yamazoe's girls at the Alba dorm now? Yeah, I don't know what's happening now, but I want to try and help her.
なんとかしてやる
I still can't believe she was in Yui's class, though. Yeah, I'm surprised too.
でもまあ
That's a good thing, though, right?
よかったって
A good thing.
ゆいちゃん
Yui was happy, wasn't she?
あ
Oh, so that's what you meant. Yeah.
あ確かに
Yui had really looked happy this morning. Normally, she probably tried her hardest to play the role of being Yudo's big sister, but she was still only in middle school. If she ran into a friend, of course it would make her happy.
何がおかしいの
Something funny?
いや
Nah, just no matter what you say, you really care about your family now, don't
大事
you?
にしてるからな今の家族の
そん
That's not it.
照れるなって
Don't blush. It's a good thing for you too, isn't it? To have something like that.
僕
I'm not blushing. And wait, it doesn't matter anyway. Come on, let's go to the club room.
小野や有村や
We need to tell Onoe, Arimura, and Kazuki about Yamazoe too. Of course, I'd already told everyone to come for an emergency meeting. They should be in the room already. Definitely more of a chill episode today.
山添由紀って子は
So now Uki Yamazoe is safe at Alba Dorm.
タク
Taku, way to go. I am Groot.
いや
Nah, it was nothing. The girls all seemed very impressed. Sarika was squeezing her Garo Froggy strap in lieu of applause. It still sounded nothing like it was supposed to, and honestly I would have preferred the applause, but I was used to it by now, I guess. Sarika, Kazuki, don't flatter him too much. He'll do something crazy again. I will not. Sheesh, I appreciated that she was worried about me, but Kurisu was a little too protective. I especially wish she'd stop it when everyone else was around. It was embarrassing. It feels good, though. I bet Shinjo and Kunosato are so pissed off right now. Serves that bitch right.
有村は前から
Did you know about Yamazoe Arimura? Yeah, I just talked to her a little on the phone. She didn't say much of anything at Frisia, I guess. She was probably scared of them.
まあ
Yeah, I'm sure. But I guess she was pretty talkative in front of you, huh? Maybe you just look dumb, but you actually know how to treat a lady. Arimura grinned. Of course I do. I've read every issue of Cool Cat Press that I could find. Oh my god, do not follow Cool Cat Press. I couldn't say that though, so I didn't.
ち違う
No, it's because Kurisu and Yui were there. Of course. You didn't take me seriously, did you? That's creepy. I was never going to get used to this. For one thing, no matter how hard I tried to glare at her, she just smirked. I was trying to think of a good comeback when the door to the club room suddenly opened. The door opened softly, but it was clear that the person standing in front of us was furious. You. Speak of the devil, Kunosada was there, and the light in her eyes was as cold and fierce as ever. Instead of yelling, her voice was low and threatening. I figured that she'd eventually find out that we were the ones who'd taken Uki, but I didn't expect her here so soon. What are you thinking? What? She's important evidence. Don't start messing with her. Kunosato stomped over to me and grabbed me by the lapel. Her arms were so thin I didn't know where she got the strength. It was like she was filled with some kind of raw hatred that gave her power. Hey, stop! Violence is wrong. Oh my god. Sarika and Kurisu grabbed her and tried to pull her off, but she held on to me tightly. I didn't force her to leave. What? She wanted to come with us. She said she didn't want to go with you. That was only a half-truth. But I felt like I had to say it anyway. And what do you mean, evidence? She's not a thing or a test subject, so I can't let you have her. You don't know anything, you asshole. Her hand gripped me tighter. What the hell was going on? What was wrong with this woman? I felt a powerful rage building up within me. There was a low buzzing in my ears, and Kurisu and Sarika's shouts suddenly seemed to be very far away. This is probably not going to be good. And then I saw the D-sword. and it was clearer than it had ever been before. Let me go, damn it. This might not end well. Her face suddenly twisted in pain. I looked at her with blurry eyes and saw that a red mark had formed on her pale white wrist, as if something was digging into it. She was gritting her teeth, and her breathing made it seem like she was trying to endure some kind of incredible pain, but she still refused to let go. Miyashiro, no! Don't do it! Arimura's scream seemed like it was coming from underwater. The new violent temptations within me had almost taken control. What she's trying to do is wrong. I'll get rid of her myself. That righteous anger combined with this power, I can do anything I want. Oh boy. Oh boy. He is not doing well. A maddeningly sweet feeling of omnipotence overflowed from within me and refused to stop. That's right. Do it. Just kill her, it screamed. Stop it right now, Takaru. Thank you for that slap. I heard Kurisu yell in my ear. At the same time, I felt a strong slap across the cheek. And then Kunasato and I were pulled apart. I suddenly regained control of my senses. Kurisu, Ito, and Serika had grabbed me and were holding me back, while Arimura and Kazuki were doing the same to Kunasato. Kunasato looked at me with eyes full of hate, and then pushed Arimura and Kazuki away. Watch out! Serika quickly grabbed them and held them up. Are you okay? I am Groot. Thanks, Seri. Enough of this, Kunasato. Now it was the Empress's turn to get mad. Please leave. You're not part of this club, and you're not welcome here. She was clutching her hands into fists so tightly that they turned white, standing between Kunasato and the rest of us, as if she was some kind of protector. I don't know why you're behaving this way towards Takaru, Uki, and Arimura, but I won't allow it. I don't need your permission. You saw it just now. Psychics are dangerous. Leave. Now. Kurisu's voice left no room for discussion. Neither of them moved a muscle for a moment. Oh, wait. Stop. Stop. And then we heard panting coming from the hallway. I figured you'd be here, Kunasato. It was Shinjo. He must have been running for a while because his hair was messed up and there was sweat on his forehead. Didn't I ask you to leave this to me? The way you want to do it takes so long that the evidence we need will be destroyed. I know you're in a hurry, but there are better ways to do things. I'm sorry, Kurisu. We didn't come here to fight. Then why are you here? Please don't look at me like that. Shinjo looked at them both of them, troubled. And then he turned towards me. Listen, Miyashiro, I know what you're going to say, and I don't blame you for taking Uki last night. We were probably in the wrong there. So now we've come to ask you a favor. We want Uki, and if possible, you and Arimura, to get an examination at a proper facility. What? Arimura responded before I could. Hey, Stephen Turquoise. I'm glad you had a good April. I'm very glad. If anyone needs their hen examined, it's you. Did you honestly think we say, yes, please, run a bunch of experiments on me? Let me finish. This is for your sake, really. His next words came as a shock to me. We actually just spoke to Dr. Sakuma. Dad? Both Kurisu and I shouted at the same time. You two you don't like the way Kunasato does things, right? Then why not go to a hospital run by a friend of Dr. Sakuma's? Hey, you can't just... Kunasato. Shinjo put up a hand to cut her off. You know that this is the only way they're ever going to agree, right? I'll let you come too. Sorry, voice is getting dry. Oh boy. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm trying to hydrate. It's a lot of talking. Kunosato furrowed her brow in anger, then turned around and left the room. Shinjo waited until he couldn't hear her footsteps anymore, and then sighed a little in relief. Then he continued. So how about it, you two? I heard that Dr. Sakuma that was once an assistant professor at a university medical department, after all. I didn't know that. Kurisu must not have known it either, because she looked over at me confused. Dad was an assistant professor? I didn't know that. I thought he was just a weird old man. Hey, I mean, the way he looks, I can see where you get that idea, but... Shinjo laughed, seemingly in sympathy with my dad. I think a friend of his can be trusted. What about you? Either way, I refuse. I thought so. Shinjo chuckled. He was probably anticipating that response. But you know, Arimura, from what Dr. Sakuma said, your powers might be having a bad effect on your health. What? Go meet Uki Yamazoe. You'll find it very difficult to believe that she's 14 years old, right, Miyashiro? It was true that Uki looked the same as she did in her old school pictures. It was like the passage of time had stopped for her. If that was caused by her powers, Dr. Sakuma's opinion is that she needs a detailed examination, no matter what. Why not have them take a look at the two of you while they're at it? Just think of it as a checkup. How does that sound? Arimura was still unsure, it seemed, but what happened to Uki must have bothered her. Let me think about it for a little. Yeah, that's fine. Every channel should have a redeem hydrate button. I guess we could add that in. I haven't said I would yet, okay? Of course. I looked at the door where Kunosato had just left. If Dad says I need an exam, I'll get one. But if Kunosato starts treating Yamazoe or Arimura like guinea pigs in the middle of it... I hesitated for a second, unsure of what to say, but then I continued. I'll get mad. I'll use my powers and wreck everything so that you can't do an exam. Please remember that. Taku? Dude. You can't do that. What are you saying? Everyone was shocked at seeing me act so differently than usual. But I remembered the sense of power, of omnipotence that I just felt, and shivered a little. That's right. I could do it. I would do it. If I had to, I could do just what I just did. Understood. I'll make sure she understands that during the exam. Will that do? Shinjo sighed a little and shook his head. He was probably trying to come up with a way to keep Kunosato quiet and not having much luck. Alright, sorry to interrupt your club time. He went to leave the room, but just before he stepped into the hallway, he turned around. Oh, oops, I had something else important to say, and I almost forgot it because of Kunosato. What is it? It was clear from Kurisu's voice that she was still upset. Shinjo may have been used to dealing with Kunosato, but the Empress was a whole different animal altogether. He flinched a little. This is for Miyashiro, Onoe, and Ito. Huh? Me? I didn't do anything. Neither did I. You three trespassed into the hospital basement, didn't you? That was... Wait, didn't you and Kunosato do the same thing? That's right. So that was just a joke. Well, it wasn't funny. You really scared me. Actually, I wanted to ask you something about that. Shinjo's voice dropped several decibels as he continued. Kunosato said that there was data on a girl named Senri Minamisawa on the computer there. I heard Kurisu gasp a little. Power drunk, exactly. It's not looking good for him. Shinjo didn't know about Kurisu and Minamisawa, though, so he just looked confused for a moment before quickly continuing. Kunosato says you saw it too. Do you remember? Do you remember? Blah. Suddenly hearing that name almost brought back the trauma, but...
はい
Yeah,
見ました
I saw it.
データは確かにあっ
The
た
data was there, right?
はい
Yes.
そうか
I see. Shinjo looked at Ito and Serika too. They both nodded.
なら
Then I want you to see this. It's evidence, so I couldn't bring the real thing here, but...
実物を持ってく
He
る
put his
わけに
hand in
はい
his
かなかった
pocket and took out a photo. It showed what looked like an ID card. I couldn't believe my eyes. The card looked old and it was dirty and scratched in spots. But the name and face on it were clearly visible.
南さん
Senri Minamisawa. That's right, the name Senri Minamisawa was displayed under the ID number. The expressionless face on the picture was, without a doubt, the girl I'd seen in the basement.
どうだろう
Well, could it just be a different person with the same name? Kunosato insists that it's
こ
her.
の佐藤さん
間違いないです
It's her. I'm sure of it.
俺
Yes,
も
I
そう
think so
思います
too.
私も
Me too. Yep, almost out of time. We're just going to get through this scene. All three of us answered instantly. Shinjo nodded and put the picture back in his
そう
pocket.
かありがと
I
う
see. Thank you.
あの
That girl,
そうか
Senri Minamisawa,
南沢
is
千里
something
さん
going on with
どう
her?
かしたんですか
I asked, trying to say it in a way that wouldn't bother Kurisu.
ゆうべ
Last night, it would have been just about the time you two took Uki to this Albadorm, I suppose. Two officers on patrol near Shinsen Station found a woman they believed to be a suspect in the serial arson case. Huh?
っていうと
Then
私たちを襲った
that's the
スパイはキャシスト
Pyrokinetic who attacked us.
あ
Yeah.
君らの証
Your
言が
testimony and the composite sketch that Arimura helped with matched, I'm told. And more than anything, she supposedly was using fire. Supposedly, I'm told. These words probably
逃
meant
げられたんですね
she escaped, didn't she?
職務質問をしようと
They were
近寄った
attacked when they
途端
went to
に
question
やられ
her. One was badly burned and is in the ICU.
たもう一人の巡査は
The other officer tried to grab her and got into a struggle. He was badly burned on the arms and legs too, but during the struggle, she dropped this.
重傷なん
He
だよ
patted the photo in his
そ
pocket.
の時
Huh? That woman had Senri Minamisawa's ID card? Why?
それって
Does that mean she's the one who attacked Miyashiro?
ってことですか
Suddenly, there was a loud crash. I turned and saw that Kurisu had gone deathly pale and been forced to grab a table to stop from falling over. Oh boy. Well, we know the name of that fire girl now. Her teacup was lying shattered on the table. The sound was probably from when she dropped it.
クルス
先輩大丈
Are you okay? Yes, I'm sorry. I just felt a little dizzy.
座ってろ
Sit down, Vice President. I am
夫あり
Groot.
がとう
Thanks. Kazuki dragged a chair over for her to sit in, and she collapsed down on top of it. Shinjo seemed to realize that something was wrong. He hesitated a moment, then asked in as soft a tone as he could muster.
クルスさん
Kurisu, do you know something about Senri
南
Minamisawa?
沢
あの新庄さん
Shinjo, that's not...
平気よ
I'm fine, Takaru. Kurisu looked up and cut me off. And then she told him how Senri Minamisawa was her childhood friend, and that she was being used as a test subject in the experiments conducted in that basement. And finally... But her name's on the memorial for the victims of the Shibuya earthquake.
慰霊
It
碑に
can't
も
be
名前
her.
が刻まれています
That's how she finished.
そうですよ
That's right. Kunosato said she probably died in the earthquake
黒崎さ
too.
んも言ってましたし
I quickly added. Shinjo thought for a moment and then spoke, even more gently than before.
クルスさん
Kurisu, thank you for telling me this.
ありがとう彼女の死の記録
The
が
police are
事実かどうか
investigating whether the records of her death are
調査を
accurate.
進めて
Depending on what we find, I'm afraid I might have to ask you to come down to the station to talk to them.
構いません
That's fine, though I do
何か
believe
の
it's some
間違
kind
い
of
だと信
mistake.
じてますけど
There was no doubt in her voice. Shinjo chuckled a little.
君の友達を疑い
I don't want to doubt your friend, but it's part of my
商
job.
売でね犯人の正体を
Whoever the
ともかく
arsonist might be, there's a chance they might come after you two again, Miyashiro, Arimura. Be careful. You're right,
やっぱり
aren't
そう
you?
ですか
君たちは能力
She
者
knows we're your psychics now. If something happens, call me anytime, 24 hours a day.
あと
Also, don't tell anyone about Senri Minamisawa until the police make an official announcement. I don't want the media finding out until we know the truth of the matter. Thanks.
マスコミあたりに騒がれたくない。
Shinjo took one last worried look at Kurisu and then left the room. Everyone fell silent, lost in their own thoughts. And I'd say this, with that scene change, I think that's a pretty good place to stop. Well, at the rate we're going, I have to imagine that we'll probably finish up chapter 7 next time and get to chapter 8. So yeah, we're making decent progress. Just keep going through, and things are starting to connect, but we're not sure exactly how it's going to be. 4 more sessions, Fall 56. I honestly don't know. That's up to Soy Sauce would have a better idea, but maybe 4 or 5. I'm going to guess 5. If the chapters have been continued to be as long as this one. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll be back next Sunday as long as progress on the Zelda retrospective continues. Like I said, if I just get behind, I'll need to use this time in order to make progress. So just keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we won't have to do that, but we'll see how it all goes. Soy Sauce says about 5 to 7, maybe, because the last 2 chapters are pretty long. Okay. It's one of those, it's usually how it goes. First chapter is long and the last chapter or 2 are long too. So that makes sense. So yeah, we have that. We'll continue more probably next week, but of course, we'll be back tomorrow as well for more Outer Wilds as we continue to look into the mysteries of that game and see what we can discover next. We are just need to get more specific for certain things. So we'll see how that all goes. So yeah, we'll see how that all ends up. But yeah, I think that'll be due for now. Let's see if we can raid real quick. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We don't get to raid Tiny Ghost too much. They're playing Minecraft right now, so we'll do that. Let's see. You know what? I don't want to confuse them or anything like that, so we'll just go with a you feeling crafty. We'll go with that. Just something simple. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. And hoping you all have a great week. And yeah, just overall have a good time. So yeah, we'll see you all soon. And yeah, take care, everyone. Till next time. Bye.